Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party! Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch us, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part, so make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you would like to support the channel, head over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch only at TheIndianJesus.com. All right. I am excited for this one, guys. I am excited for this one. Oh, is Morty coming up? I got a co-host. Oh, Morty's excited too. Crappy day out. You know, I had some stuff at work, and it's just one of those days. So I figured we needed some low-hanging fruit. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just not in the mood for the BS. So maybe I picked the wrong thing. But we saw that Hasanabi, shout out to Hasan, aka Cenk's nephew, aka whatever he's going by these days, but apparently not having such a good time. There was some messages leaked from his Discord where his viewership has been like down the tubes, and he is not happy about it. So I realized that we've talked a lot about Hasan on this channel, but we've never actually really covered Hasan. And probably, probably for the better. But given that, we haven't, and I know we're all going to be on the same side when it comes to Hasan, figured let's check out from about a year ago. It was last May when he went on the Iced Coffee Hour with Stephan and Jack Shelby. Let's just see who this guy really is. As always, if you can end the video, please do let me know.
Let's get back onto that after we finish the story, because we left off with you being like 18 or so in college. You ended up transferring to Rutgers. What happened there? And then how did you get to where you are today from that?
I graduated from college, can't get a job, obviously. I graduated with honors, actually. Poli-sci degree.
What was that?
Poli-sci degree. Well, that explains it. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. Yeah, definitely. After him calling people baby settlers, it's just crazy to think that just a few months ago he was riding high. He was maybe the biggest Twitch streamer in politics. He had a podcast with Ethan Klein from H3, and he was doing the damn thing. And shout out to Zippy. Welcome. I realized that as I was saying, I was like, oh wait, I'm not in the mood for the BS, but I'm not in the mood from the BS. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. Welcome to the party. But yeah, Unwanted Foe, I think you are absolutely right. The fact that he went so full bore, like rah Hamas, basically. I think that was just too much. And we'll get into it more as it comes up. But that is exactly. There you go. And speaking of low hanging fruit, that is why you see that his audience isn't really there for him. He's talking about how he used to be a community and this and that. Bro, it was never a community. It's just that you were saying the things that these random people wanted you to say.
Changed between Miami and Rutgers.
I just realized like I have to work hard
together.
I had to get my shit together.
He thought he did.
Was there a pivotal moment that happened for you that was like your wake-up call, or was it just gradual over time?
No, it was just gradual.
Okay.
Because I think American school is like fairly easy in comparison to what I had to learn in school in Turkey. So I was just like really phoning it in. So I decided not to phone it in as much.
Did you really? You decided not to phone it in as much. Okay, glad to know that this is you not phoning.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I was just gonna comment on his way of speaking, where it's just like, I'm just too cool to even like be alive. So like, yeah, like I was going to Rutgers, bro, and then like fucking poli-sci, and like I mean, but American schools are so like expat. You know what I mean, dude?
So that's pretty much it. And when you're a freshman, you don't really know what you're going to do. So you have to take a lot of common core style classes. And those foundational classes are often like very difficult, especially if it's not
Those classes are specifically made to be easier because of the fact that it's gen ed. Those are specifically meaning general education. Those are specifically meant to be the easier classes. So right off the bat, he's BSing. Shout out to Nicholas Luchetti in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother.
Something that you're truly interested in, whereas poli-sci was something I was interested in, so it was a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
Like it came naturally.
What was the job you wanted to get? So you must have graduated, what, 2014 or 15?
2013.
2013.
I knew it. What do I always tell you guys? That I graduated in 2012, and I've been told that that was the year. The difference between the 2012 class and the 2013 class, and we have proof. I want to Phil said if American schools were so easy, he would have graduated with a 4.0 and could have easily gotten a job. Yet he complained that he couldn't. Stupid. Make it make sense already. And I mean, obviously, we skipped a bunch of like, how did you get started? And I mean, they go over a little. They're obviously still talking about that a little bit, but I got to the juicy stuff.
The job I wanted to get originally was this is funny.
Is it though?
A consultant in one of the big 4 firms.
Really?
So originally I was like, I have a poli-sci background. I could probably go to like, PwC, McKinsey, one of those companies. You know what I mean? That's what I was like trying to get hired by. But of course, that's all like wheeling and dealing.
Sure.
Who you know.
What did he just say? I have no idea what he just said. He was a poli-sci elite. He cannot comment, man. That's why he can't understand what normal is. I think you got it.
And I did not know anybody. So they
just I did not know anything.
I don't even think anyone even looked at my resume, right?
Could it be GPA too? Do you have a good grade?
I did, like I said, I graduated with honors, 3.75.
Got it. Okay.
So, that's like pretty solid, I would say.
Fair enough.
And my dad was like, you have to go to like law school or get an MBA or something, right? And I was not really necessarily interested in that. So I was just like, yeah, sure. I'll study for law. I'll study for my LSATs in California, Los Angeles. At the time, you guys probably know this, but if you don't, my uncle has a YouTube channel called The Young Turks.
What? Really?
It was like a 26-person shop. It was like a tiny operation, not that big, not that media behemoth or anything.
I can't. Oh my god!
So I was like, I'll just go work with him, do an internship with him, and I'll live in LA and I'll study for the LSATs. I had no interest in studying for the LSATs or going to fucking law school.
Isn't that better?
So I started working there, and then I was like, maybe I should just like work with him instead. And at first, it was really awful because I had no money, and the Young Turks didn't have any money either. So they were like, we want to do biz dev. We want to do like, we want you to fill the role of someone who would be doing like our direct advertisement sales in-house rather than someone who, rather than having Google do it, right? Like bringing in sponsorships every now and then, rather than, relying on YouTube, we want someone to do it internally. So I basically set up our in-house advertisement sales and operations. A lot of cold calling, a lot of learning. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew the industry a little bit, but that's how I got my start at the Young Turks.
Was it like commission based or was it salary?
It was supposed to be like commission based, but when you put a 22-year-old in a job like that, in a position like that, and it's commission based, and the product that you're like trying to sell is kind of hard to sell because it's like political commentary, political news, and you're going for a lot of like DR campaigns, right? Or where with
that's what you're trying to sell to?
Well, I had to get like, I brought in like Squarespace, Crunchyroll, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost difficult to even pinpoint like what to even make fun of about him. It just, everything is a giant cringe. Everything is a giant cringe. Everything out of his mouth.
And through like, they weren't necessarily tier 1, ad companies, I would say. They weren't like tier 1 marketing companies. Like, I would meet up with them, like OMD, all these like big brands.
I forgot how boring this was. All right, so I'm gonna just skip to the next
based industry.
One other thing I did while all of that was going on was I always wanted to be on camera, but I was dog shit. Like I was so bad at it.
He was
not
bad,
good.
guys.
I don't think
he was really bad, but now he's really, really good.
Anyone is really that good. I love talking, but I was very nervous on camera at first. Like when the camera light was on, I was a different person almost. I couldn't let my personality out. But at that point, I'd realized that like repetition and hard work for someone like myself, I was able to achieve a lot of the things as long as I just like fucking boulder through it, you know, push.
Yeah. And remember, guys, the work that he does is way harder than the work you do. What was the thing that he said on stream? He was like this, it's way more soul sucking than a 9 to 5. It's like, I don't think it is, bro.
Push through it. Doesn't matter if I suck at first. Who gives a shit? It's embarrassing, but it doesn't matter. So I would present myself as a fill-in host because I looked at all these other hosts and it's a YouTube show. You know, these guys don't know anything more than I do. They're just, you know, they're a little bit more charismatic. Sure, they have more experience on camera. I don't think they're bringing anything particularly new to the table. It's a fucking YouTube show.
Projection. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. So is that a fan of the playground? Not that one. That's the, I mean, I don't know, but that's the other one. This is Hasan. You're talking about Bosch. And shout out to Zippy DSM Lee. I didn't even know you could be a monthly supporter over on Rumble, but there he is doing the damn thing. And of course, every donation comes with a treat. Oh, my co-host Morty. Thank you, sir. That makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Yeah, calling him a Nepo baby would be a huge understatement. That's entirely like he has never accomplished anything under his own name. It's insane. Shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Fuck right off. Exactly. He's working so hard.
Camera. I don't think they're bringing anything particularly new to the table. It's a fucking YouTube show, you know? And I was like, I could do that. I want to do that. So I would say, if someone needs a fill, I'll do it. Last second, doesn't matter. Don't care what the subject matter is. I'll read on it. I'll speak on it. I'll do it. So that's why I started doing...
Oh my God. Hold on. Wait. Oh.
That's why I started doing more, on-camera appearance.
Who knows what I'm laughing at? I was updating the banner. Shout out again to Zippy, but I missed it.
If someone needs a fill, I'll do it. Last second, doesn't matter. Don't care what the subject matter is. I'll read on it. I'll speak on it.
Don't care what it is. I'll read on it. I'll speak on it. Now we know where the mentality comes from. Oh, there was something else, like on Wanted Bo was talking about his Israel Gaza coverage, and he's like watching a cell phone video from like a mile away. And you just hear like, he's like, there's no way that's this type of missile. And it's like, bro, you cannot identify missiles in the air at night for a cell phone video. Shout out to Virgil Kane all the way over from Manchester, England. Welcome to the party. And said Hasan's hands are as soft as a newborn baby's bottom due to the fact that he has never worked a hard day in his entire life. Yep.
I'll do it. So that's why I started doing more on-camera appearances at first.
Was that like a teleprompter, or were they giving you a topic and you'd have to research that and speak on it?
Yeah. No teleprompter at this point.
Okay.
And then I was living with one of the producers at the time for one of the media properties there on the entertainment side. And I pitched him the idea. The Young Turks at this point had no teleprompter shows. I pitched him the idea of doing a teleprompter show. They had a studio that was basically just like a supply closet. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm gonna put a fucking green screen in here and I'm gonna do a show out of this. I'm gonna give you like a free show. I'm just doing extra work, right? And it took a lot of convincing, but ultimately he was like, sure, whatever. I mean, we live together. It's I'm greasing his wheels that way, I guess. I'm gonna call it the breakdown. And everyone was like, oh, we're just gonna be a drain on our resources. 30 million fucking views every week. It was
30
Facebook.
million views a week.
Oh,
I mean, the one thing you cannot ding him for is that viewership. I mean, maybe now, but he definitely was able for a long time to have 20,000 people a day consistently. That's a lot of viewership.
Yeah.
Was that it was monetized at that point, was it?
No.
Oh, so this is, but it's so much reach for you guys.
Yes.
Wow.
So, it became this thing that was insanely popular. Facebook was skyrocketing. Like our Facebook growth was insane, tremendous.
Who was the audience at that point?
Who the audience was, I don't
Little
really know what
girls.
the demographics were, but I would say they're still 18 to 35, you know,
Yeah.
like the key target demo. I probably was a little bit younger. Like Facebook at that point was like more popular, I would say, than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, Ian. But I mean, that being said, you know, there still is not the view. Like, you can be propped up, but at the end of the day, if people are on your stream and they're not enjoying it, they're gonna leave.
With younger demographics, this is when people were like moving away. They had Snapchat as an alternative, but like there wasn't that many viable alternatives, right? And it was just doing tremendously well. I was doing these things where I would just do like a back and forth with Tommy Lauren. Do you guys remember who that is?
I remember her. What was the thing that like set her off? Like, I mean, she was in politics. I remember her from when I was an ever Trumper, so I never took her seriously. By the time I was, you know, losing my TDS status, she was already laughed out of existence. What was it? Oh, that's right. She was like, she was complaining that her and her friends couldn't find men. And it's like, we got stuff going on. Okay, we need real men. It's like, ooh, honey, that's not how you do it, guys. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button. It is free and it helps out the channel so much. Thank you.
She was a
back and forth with her.
So we never collaborated, but she would make a video, and I would piece by piece go through her video and just like dunk on everything she was saying.
Don't,
it was,
bro.
I think like this wasn't as popular as it is now.
Yeah.
Everyone does it now, right? Everyone does it on TikTok. Everyone does it on YouTube. But at the time, it was like kind of unique, especially to the political sphere. And it was still scripted. It was still teleprompted. And I had like all these assets that I would bring in. And it was really, it was for a brief moment, I think I captured the attention of like a massive group of people. But it was still under the TYT umbrella.
Yeah, one folks saying she fell into the modern woman trap. Yeah, she's pro-abortion. That makes sense. That makes sense. Shout out to Leslie. Welcome to the party. Makes sense. Makes sense. I think, yeah, I don't know what however you spell it. Oh, that chick. Virgil said he's a good-looking guy. Hope the jealous green-eyed monster isn't creeping in Jesus.
What?
All right.
I did not have any ownership of this IP. I did not have anything. Like I have no control over it. You know what I mean? And I would constantly say, give me more funds so I can hire a writer. Give me more funds so I can like beef up this process. And instead of doing that, what did TYT do? They said
they became the biggest news organization, alternative news organization on the left. Oh, silly.
No, we're just going to take the breakdown, your baby, your child, this thing that you've made, and we're going to make all the other hosts do it as well, which will dilute the brand and what my vision for it was. So now you have to train everyone just like you've trained your editors.
But like, shouldn't that like, I guess I get what you're saying, but if you're really looking to advance your career, then like having one little show like that is not, that shouldn't be what you're aiming at. If you're already at a company, you should want to be moving up within that company. I think, doesn't that strike you as odd? Like in hindsight, we now know that you know, Hasan got super rich from Twitch, but he couldn't have known that at the time. So I'm very confused as to why he wouldn't be like, oh, this is great. Instead of me just being, you know, some on-air talent, now I'm teaching everybody how to do my thing. So obviously my thing is very valuable to them. Seems like he could have made a lot of money. And so TYT has been using bots to fudge their numbers for like a decade now. Yep. Zippy's pro-abortion. Will make no law equals must be pro. So is Zippy a modern woman? Must be.
Vision for it was. So now you have to train everyone just like you've trained your editors to be able to do this kind of content.
Yeah. Like I'd be like, oh wow, oh my goodness. You want me to create more Indian Jesus channels? That's amazing. I would be honored. Shout out to Dylan. Welcome to the party.
And you have to also help them, you know, make the show. Because my job isn't making a show. My job at that point is building our Facebook operations, right? Like growing our Facebook operations. I hated that. That was when I realized like fully that I just have no control over my life whatsoever. This is a reality that many people face and unfortunately can't really escape. because they can't become entrepreneurs because that is a massive risk. It was one that I was able to do.
But they could. You said they can't, but they could.
Eventually, I by January 2020. Before that, I went part-time with the Young Turks because I wanted my own thing. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. I'm jumping.
But you already see the supremacy in his mind that like, well, I can do this, but most people can't do it. Like, well, you did it. So why wouldn't anybody else be able to do it? Like, what yeah.
What ended up happening is I realized I needed my own thing after that. When they did that, I needed to no longer be in the shadow of the Young Turks, no longer be in the shadow of my uncle, because no matter what I did, everyone was like, nepotism. That's the reason why you're successful.
Shout out to Cenk's nephew.
Nepotism. That's the reason why your Facebook, shit's popping off.
Yup.
Nepotism. It's like, well, he's not doing fucking Facebook videos. Like, what do you mean? He literally can't. Like, So I was always like trying to move the audience from TYT Properties to something that I own. Like,
which is to the people who just said, "Oh my God, we love what you're doing so much. We want you to head up a team at our company to do this exact thing." And then you turn around and siphon shit for your own project. Like, come on, bro.
Like, my Instagram.
Yeah.
They were not too fond of that.
Yeah,
At
no
first,
shit.
they didn't give a shit, but then they realized, like, oh, fuck, this guy's like kind of using our network to like build his own brand. I don't like it.
Yeah, but I thought they didn't have anything. So if they didn't have anything, then how are you using them to build a brand? Already not making sense, bro.
Then I started Twitch because I was very bad off the cuff. I wanted a place where I could go to every day, build a community around it. I wanted something that was mine. And I wanted to be able to start speaking off the cuff. What better way to learn how to speak off the cuff than speak off the cuff for 8 hours a fucking day to an audience even.
Which, remember, guys, is much harder than your job. It's much, much more soul-sucking than your job.
Have a back and forth. And I also was a gamer already. And I saw the gaming space as one that was like actually very diverse.
Then your
and
job.
had a lot of like progressive opinions. But unfortunately, if you looked at like the gaming adjacent content creators, none of them were really openly leftist or anything like that. They were all like,
we really only got 4 likes on here right now. Damn. Let me get a like. What's good?
actually very right wing. You had a lot of like actually far right content creators even that were doing like commentary and essays.
Like who?
Gamergate had happened, and everyone was talking about like how video games are political, and that meant like there was like a black woman in the video game. You know what I mean? Not Call of Duty though. Call of Duty was not considered political. So it was a lot of commentary like that, which is why I was like, no, there's definitely demand for this.
And that's the craziest thing, is that there really was demand for this. I mean, the average midwit conservative could debate Hasan Piker and beat him. I mean, it would only be the rhetorical debate bro skills that he would jump around. Like, there's nothing else. There's nothing else going on up there.
My kind of politics with my understanding of memes, internet culture.
I think, to be fair, he was saying that Call of Duty wasn't woke. To be fair.
All that sort of stuff. And Twitch was the best place to go to do that because it was a video game platform. So that's when I made the move to start doing my Twitch, which was very tiny at the time, wasn't anything. And I started building it up slowly but surely.
Better or worse?
And by the time 2019 came around, it was at least like respectable. You know what I mean? I was reaching like sometimes 5,000 concurrent viewership.
Oh wow, that's more than respectable.
Yeah. Right, so let's do this. He talks about something that happened with Fox News, and then let's just get into the actual stuff. So they're about to bring up UBI, Universal Basic Income. So just think about what you think about Universal Basic Income. Think about what you think the wrong position on Universal Basic Income would be, and then see if it matches up. Yeah, and what's nice to remember, anything to the right of a leftist is far right. Yeah, common sense will always defeat semantics. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right.
Attention to that.
So this is something I actually wanted to get your opinion on. Universal basic income. What are your thoughts on that? Because that would give a lot of people that autonomy to be able to be their own boss to a certain extent.
Let's make a
and pursue
poll.
other creative ventures.
UBI is actually a very good idea, but it can be a very bad idea as well. Okay. What do I mean by that? UBI is the problem with UBI is that if it's used as a way to further cripple the social safety nets, the existing social safety nets that are already in a state of disarray, then it's not good. Just a cash injection with that basically eats away at like EBT, SNAP credits, and Social Security and whatnot would be devastating, because I feel like that would open up the avenue to further privatize these institutions of the government.
Oh no, we wouldn't want to further privatize things. Yeah, Ian says UBI is nothing more than wealth redistribution. Yeah, but it's not it's not like hiding that fact. It's legitimately saying no. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all the money and put it together, and then dole out enough for everybody. So I mean, it's nothing more than wealth distribution, but it's not like they're hiding that. Wanted Foe said, isn't that like the $1,000 per month to each person that Andrew Yang ran on? Yep. Own nothing and be happy, or main pod for you. Yep. It is rating, but we gotta do that. I'm not gonna do that in the middle show. We're gonna do that at the end. So I'm gonna star that. Thank you, sir.
Feel like that would open up the avenue to further privatize these institutions that the government is supposed to be controlling. So that is something that I'm very fearful of. But as a concept, if UBI on top of that was supplementary, great. I'm
let me
on board.
ask you this: do you feel like a person would be able to better manage money like that than the government would? Like, let's just say hypothetically, you do get rid of all the other social services, but in its place, you go right to the person. You say you get $2,200 a month or $2,000 a month.
No,
you don't feel like a person would manage better.
Absolutely not.
Why is
Some
that?
people might, but no. I'm of the mindset that people are
let him go.
not very smart, and as a whole, and when we think about
projection. Instant UBI is something you only find weak males supporting, like unions.
Every single person, I'm a dumbass. Okay, I don't want to manage all.
We can't. We gotta take that back. We gotta take the projection back because he said it. He said it. I'm a dumbass. I know that. I know he's doing it tongue in cheek. But all right. So the next one, you got to remind me. We're up one. We're up one projection. Damn it.
All that stuff. Someone should manage all of that stuff. And I think that leaving it up to a governing body is always going to be, especially, I mean, even though it's like devastatingly crippled, it's awful for the most part, and it's not significant enough. I still think that having it be regulated through a body that is still somewhat accountable through the democratic processes is the right thing to do in theory. In practice, obviously, our institutions are purposely crippled, undermined, underfunded, and left to starve and die out so that you can privatize it, basically. But
yeah, Zippy makes a great point that he's saying people are dumb, but that the government should run it. But like the reason that the government sucks is because the people are dumb. And so in a situation like, even again, just saying they were to do UBI and cut some of these programs and just give everybody a check. You're right. Some people would squander that. But you know who's squandering almost all of it? The government. That's even before they give it out to people who may or may not do it, use it responsibly. So, what you talking about, Willis?
I'm a firm believer that having that safety net is really, really important. There are plenty of examples of this being super successful. I mean, every Nordic country that you look to, social democracies that you look to in Europe.
Yeah, every country that has like 7 people.
There are, very different ways of doing things, but ultimately the principle behind it is still the same. Socialization is a necessity, I would say. And
what things do you think should be socialized? I think healthcare.
Everything, just like everything.
Is one of the items that you mentioned.
And you're not gonna like what I'm about to say.
And I know what you're about to say.
Yeah.
But we could talk. I'm more than happy to talk about it. Yeah.
So I think things that have inelastic demand, necessities for survival, should certainly have at least like a comfortable bottom that the government should provide. What do I mean by this? I'm not saying that we should like completely eradicate the private sector in all aspects of our development.
But you kind of are though. Because you can only get so far down this road before the state is so big that the private sector doesn't have a chance. Let's see, you'll never hear a progressive talk about medical debt forgiveness. Oof.
Or all aspects of commodity commodity production. Well, maybe in the future that could be something that we could do.
See?
Not in the short.
See? Even when he's saying, I don't want to do that, he's saying, well, we're going to do that eventually.
Term, of course. But healthcare certainly should be nationalized. But you can't nationalize healthcare without also having free college, because you don't want doctors to get, into $500,000 in debt and then go work at a public facility for pennies on the dollar and not be able to even pay that debt back.
This is what I mean. Like, I don't even, the angle to you just said so many things that are disconnected. I am genuinely having a hard time here. No ideas socialist.
Plenty of countries have recognized this, and that's the reason why they also offer free education. Even America has kind of been forced to recognize this reality. And you see schools like NYU and New York schools, like New York colleges, trying to create a scholarship process so that, doctors can get educated for.
Yeah, this is, I mean, Angel said when he decides to go and run a farm and give people free food from the fruits of his labor, then I'll listen. And this is another thing that it's like, at what point, or at some point, do the people who watch this guy ever think about this? Like, it's not like the rest of the world hasn't thrown these criticisms at him for years. And I don't know. I don't get it. Ian says, does he know that is what he's talking about? Hard to say if he knows or not. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. Because he's tying these ideas together in a way that I'm sure. It sounds like he has the logic there, but he's just like glossing over it as if I'm already supposed to understand his argument. Like, I'm understanding the things that he's saying, but like, let's take it like, okay, we need free or universal healthcare. Therefore, we need universal schooling necessarily. Like, can we address that real quick? Where are there's two people on the other side of the table and they're not doing anything. As we said, free college turns professionals into dimwits who can't do their jobs. The bigotry of low expectations. So now, to the people who watch him have no idea where food comes from. Yep. Sadly. To
create a scholarship process so that, doctors can get educated for free, or at least like have heavily subsidized education. I also think, what I want to say, housing should be decommodified. What do I mean by that?
Decommodified.
I think we all agree that
what
housing
do you mean by that?
Should, housing is a necessity for survival. For that reason, I believe that housing as a mechanism for capital accumulation has really perverted our understanding of housing and has created glaringly obvious problems in America, but especially in a place like California, where 43.7% or 43.7 people for every 100,000.
So it's 40.9 in every 10,000 people were experiencing homelessness. All right,
people is homeless here. It's like an insane number. I don't want to mess the numbers up.
Yeah.
But we are number one.
Yeah,
wait, you didn't make a point. You just said a bunch of things, but you didn't make a point. Did I miss it?
Problems and had.
He spent 30 seconds trying to come up with a number and forgot to actually make a point with it.
But we are number one.
Yeah, my understanding.
Once a fellow said, love to see him buy an apartment complex and give free housing to the homeless with it. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. It would be so easy. Like, even just start with one, start with a duplex. Start with 1 2-family home. And give it away. But you're not going to see that, because I think at some level he knows that he's just saying things. I think at some level he doesn't believe that this stuff works. I think he's fine. I don't know if he necessarily thinks, oh, I know this is dumb, but he's only concerned he's only concerned with the ideas so far as he can say them. As long as he has a thing to say, well, that's it. That's all that matters.
With homeless, though, is that a lot of people come to California specifically because of the weather and because of some of the social services that are offered here. Part of me believes homelessness is not necessarily a California problem, but it's a countrywide problem. Someone could be homeless in, let's say, Nevada, and they get a one-way ticket to California. And that's Nevada's solution, by the way, to homelessness.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
that was California's solution to homelessness, was to ship them to Hawaii back in the day.
As we said, the only argument for universal healthcare I can come up with, a slot-based system where doctors and pharma are given slots to fill by their state. Either they put in 30 to 40% of their effort to the slots, or taxes 50% of profit. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I don't. I think that's just going over my head. So why don't we make sure our veterans have housing instead of sleeping on the street? Yeah, again, it's all these things are, as long as it sounds good, as long as it leaves his mouth and isn't automatically like, hey, that's stupid. Good enough. Good enough. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Another state with a lot of homelessness.
I feel like it's California's bearing a lot of the burden of a nationwide crisis of homelessness. That it's not just because California real estate's expensive, but it's also because the weather and I think the location really support people who have no other place to live but on the street because of the weather.
There is some truth to the way that like Texas or red states deal with homelessness as a problem. What you're mentioning, there's truth to that. But ultimately, there are countries that have been able to eviscerate homelessness without shipping them to other places. You know what I mean? Countries that do a much better job of tackling the issue through policy than we do here in California.
Guys, I can't. I gotta speed this up. I can't. He's putting me to sleep. If it's too fast, let me know. But like, I cannot. We're going to 1.25. Ian said about 30% of all the nation's welfare spending is in California. Makes sense. And what Hasan would say is that if we just spent a little bit more, then everything would be perfect. Everything would be perfect.
California. And it's not like they're killing their homeless people. Like, they're housing them.
Yeah.
And the reality is that, public housing or even like decoupling housing from the profit motive is one.
Decoupling housing from the profit motive. This is how somebody talks when they don't really engage with other people. They engage with books and ideas and stuff like. But it's just like you don't need to say everything like that. I mean, he does because he needs to make everything sound smarter than it is because it's really dumb. But that's a sign of somebody who's just trying too hard. We gotta decouple housing from the profit motive.
What?
So you want to give people free housing? That's what you're saying? Instead, if we house the homeless, what motivation does a person have to work for a home when they know the state will provide one for them?
Bingo.
Again, as long as it is a sound sentence coming out of his mouth, these questions are not needed. He's already said the thing. What do you mean? We don't need to think about it anymore. Silly.
100% a necessity to solve homelessness, because other than the people that are being shipped to California, let's say, the reason why we have so many homeless people here is because, and I work with a lot of people that do activism in this field, that work with homeless people in general. It's the number one factor is that they get priced out of the housing market. So I call this the different tiers of homelessness, because the most public facing side of homelessness is oftentimes the person that you see on the street that has like leathery skin at this point from being under the sun, from sun damage, sun exposure for many, many years, who clearly is not mentally well, right?
So there's levels of homelessness. It's not just, do you have a home or do you not have a home? There's levels. The most public and front facing is leathery skin. Okay.
That is the last tier of homelessness. That is the type of homelessness that, like, this person is going to be profoundly hard to recover and profoundly hard to reintegrate into society, and needs a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
That number is growing in California as well. But there is an invisible side to homelessness that a lot of people don't even recognize that actually makes up the largest percentage of homeless people. The invisible homelessness comes from
The
people who are housing
homelessness.
insecure, people who are couch
Housing insecure. So now we're bringing in level 2 is the people who are housing insecure, going from house to house. Except my stupid state has a government that promotes stupidity. I've always said that in California, if it makes sense, there's a law against it. California.
The invisible homelessness comes from people who are housing insecure, people who are couch surfing, people who are living in their cars but still keep up appearances, have a job, people that don't have access to like don't have immediate access to like running water, right? But can still figure it out by like going to the gym and like having a gym membership, living in their car, but then cleaning themselves up before a job interview or before going to work. That is the first stage of homelessness. That's the most common version of homelessness. That is the most recoverable form of homelessness, and that is almost entirely due to obviously market conditions as well. Like,
I thought he was going to actually say something. It's actually due to, just the conditions of the market, and things need to change and people need to be better. Like, again, bro, make one point. Make one point. He said the reason for that is people get priced out of the market. Okay, so what is the solution to being priced out of the market? Just lowering the prices? I mean, that would be the simplest thing that you've implied. Well, people would be able to buy more houses if the houses were cheaper. He said deregulation, open IP rights, decentralization is a better way to deal with social aid issues. Yeah, see, at least you're putting forth ideas. See what I said? In California, you can be arrested for not being cool. Seems like nobody who's really cool would ever step foot in California. So that's like grouping people with gluten allergies into people who like food trends. That's a good one. I like that. It is. I mean, and because that's the thing. Cool, great. If we're going to deconstruct homelessness and the different levels of homelessness, then the implication is that you've done this so that you can better serve the issue of homelessness. You can better serve these people, these levels, so that you're not treating somebody who's on on this level like they're on this level. But it doesn't seem like you have anything. You've just deconstructed it for the sake of having a thing to say. Like, oh, okay, there's levels. How did you help homelessness? Or did you just break it down into levels? And so if you're over 25 and couch surfing, there's a 99% chance they're probably addicted to drugs. I mean, it depends on the time period. I think, everybody could have a bad, let's call it a month. Let's say you're married, you have kids, and some shit goes down, you get caught cheating, you get fired from your job, something, whatever happens. Bounce around for a month or so. After that, getting kind of, shifty. And says so. It's by their own poor choices rather than a system that is holding them back. Well, and then again, I mean, there are definitely people who, especially our veterans, there's people who have a lot more of a reason to be unable to keep up with responsibilities of jobs, so on and so forth. If you're disabled, but like we're saying, most people aren't. That's not what most people who are homeless, that's not their experience.
And that is almost entirely due to obviously market conditions as well, like the job sector, layoffs, things of that nature. But the most common reason for that homelessness to exist, the largest pocket, is that they get priced out of the housing market. They have a job, but their commute expands dramatically, let's say, and that actually makes it more costly for them when they live like 40, 50 minutes away. Ruins the quality of life. But let's say we don't even care about that at this point. They're forced to move somewhere far away, and they can't keep the jobs that they originally had. The job still exists, but it's much, much, much more difficult to go to it now. A lot of people have a hard time keeping jobs like that. They get fired. All of a sudden, you no longer have access to clean water. You have your car. You're having a hard time. You're being harassed by cops regularly because you can't park everywhere. You know what I mean? You're being called a vagrant, whatever. Then you move into tier 2 homelessness, which is also another massive pocket where it becomes permanent. Like your condition basically becomes permanent. Now,
yeah. So I mean, I think the amount of people that we know, or like the percentage of people who have spent time being homeless, I think is a lot larger than we realize. But like, kind of just like what we're saying is that, yeah, you go through a rough time and then you get out of it. It's the people who, I mean, honestly, that Hasan's right about right now, that they settle into it and it's just like, all right, well, this is my life now, and that they accept it,
where it becomes permanent. Like your condition basically becomes permanent. Now, one thing that I always like to stress is that even bears and animals in the
You'd think. See, they haven't touched on unexpected medical costs that insurance doesn't cover. And like, you just got done talking about how important universal healthcare was and how, and you strung it together. But it's like, if you didn't get there through here, how did you? I don't know.
Wild need shelter for survival. You need a fucking cave, right? You need something to burrow inside of. You don't just like brave the elements. Mm-hmm. And as humans, I feel like we're all, I don't know if you guys are vegans or not, but like we're all a little bit specious, right? We think humans are the apex predator. We think we're a little bit better off than like, monkeys and the like. We are, when you are shut off from having access to shelter.
Why is that? Why is that? Because Ian, you called it. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. What is the connection or reason that this is a thing? That don't make no sense. One fellow said, "How does fans sit and listen to him for hours at 1.0 speed? Need to grab some caffeine here to stay awake while I'm listening to him." Yeah, well, we're up at one. I went up to 2.5. It was I could tell, it was good for me, but I could tell it was a little fast. We're at 1.15 right now. Shout out to Kerm in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. The Hasan's inroads with normie apolitical YouTubers and streamers like Ludwig, XQC, etc. has always disturbed me. Good to see he's doing everything to burn all the bridges he had. Coming in hot. Welcome to the party, Kerm. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the zooming out. That was, again, the reason why I wanted to cover this when I saw it, is because we talk about him enough that we should have at least one thing where we're sitting down and seeing where does he come from. So I was saying, why don't progressives? Ian was saying you'd never hear them talking about medical debt, and he says medical debt forgiveness would help way more poor folks than student loan forgiveness could ever help to hope. Yeah, and they never talk about it. If anybody has a reason why, I would love to know what you guys think about that. One of us, if we had medical debt forgiveness, their argument for universal health care would disappear. Would it? Because they don't seem to have that mentality with other welfare and other types of reparations. Seems like they would want both. They'd want the debt forgiveness and then universal health care so that no more debt appears. I don't know. I kind of think I'm right with that one.
When you are shut off from having access to shelter, with no recourse, with no way of like recovering that over an extended period of time, that is an insanely traumatic experience. You start developing PTSD. There's a lot of crime that goes on in homeless communities.
Sure, but you glossed over a very big part of that. Why are you not able to get over it? Again, is it that you're being lazy and making bad choices? I don't want to work today. That's not the same thing as you being disabled or, something like that. Kerm said, like, imagine you're watching some mainstream YouTuber and all of a sudden they're hanging out with Nick Fuentes like he's a normal guy with normal politics and semi-promoting his views to a bunch of teens. It's sad. It's sad. And this is why I feel like we do need to, like, if you guys are not aware that this guy's out here doing this, he is. Infone said the progressives want student loan forgiveness because they are the ones that owe on the student loans for degrees, that can't actually get them jobs. Right. But again, that doesn't, we're coming from the position of, okay, well, which debt forgiveness are you going to go for? But if I'm a leftist, I'm not picking one. I'm saying there should be student loan forgiveness. There should be medical debt forgiveness. There should be all like everything should just be paid for. That's where I'm coming from. So you guys are making a good point about comparing student loan forgiveness and medical debt forgiveness. But I don't think that's a context. I mean, and again, I could be wrong, but that doesn't seem like the context where you would want to like if you're a leftist, why you would be pushing that. And again, Unwanted Foe was saying, that the argument for universal healthcare would disappear. And again, I don't think it would, because if you have a reason to say that the debt is bad, that's all of that same reasoning goes into, well, this is why we shouldn't have any debt in the future. Why don't they ever talk about medical debt? That is the secret. We've got to figure it out. And people chose to go to college, but who chooses to have health problems? I know I didn't. I mean, I don't. I mean, just being short count, but yeah, I definitely didn't. Ian said one guess for their lack of empathy when it comes to medical debt forgiveness is the fact that much of it would help people that don't vote Democrat, aka older folks. Could be. I don't know. Very odd. I would, yeah, interesting. Let's say there's 3 paths: a natural market, a market controlled by the left, and a market controlled by the right, which we've had since Reagan. Right.
It's an insanely traumatic experience. You start developing PTSD. There's a lot of crime that goes on in homeless communities as well. Mm-hmm. There's back and forth assault, rape, and the like. And then you also don't have access to healthcare, obviously. So you start both self-medicating in some ways and also simultaneously trying to make money. Start selling drugs. Start taking the drugs. You start selling the drugs. And that completely paired up with the trauma of not having shelter and not having any job opportunities pushes you into the final stage of homelessness, where you see like a lot of mental illness, a lot of drug abuse, and even more assaults and even more, rape and horrific things that people have to go through.
So I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I just watched a video from Tyler Oliveira. He's done some videos like the most dangerous city in the world, or the I went to the city where drugs are legal, or whatever it was. This time he went to the murder capital of the world, and it was my mom's hometown in Jamaica. I mean, not hometown, but it was in Jamaica. And one thing that he noticed when he was in, the very, very, very poor part of a poor country in a politically not very stable time, they're gone, and people are all over people are homeless, but you don't see people whacked out on drugs. You don't see you don't see this. You don't see that pattern. So it's maybe not uniquely American, but certainly not a necessary component of homelessness for drugs to be so prevalent. That's for sure. Shout out to David Banner. Welcome to the party. I'm not even going to say that out loud. When he said that, and then got to publicly apologize on his uncle, Cenk's nephew, and backpedal. Yeah, crazy. Welcome to the party. Self-medicating. That sure is a kind of way of describing being a junkie. Well, I mean, that is what it. That's what it. Like that's just speaking to the reason why you're taking drugs, which neither here nor there. Poorest among us will get free medications. So what is the reason to self-medicate when they get the medications they need for free? Well, right now they can't, but that's what he's pushing for. Hey, shout out to Zippy, DSM Lee, out sponsoring him damn self over on Rumble. Get a treat from Morty here. Said Leslie, McDowell, neocon, and the left are the same fake artificial economics. Oof. Throwing down the gauntlet. Good. Thank you. All right, let's dive back in.
More assaults and even more, rape and horrific things that people have to go through.
Yeah. I've definitely seen a very extreme side of things growing up and living in West LA up until really 2020, where most of the people that I would see visually, I think had a mental illness.
Let's get those likes up, please, guys. We only got 5 likes. Why is everybody allergic to the like button tonight? What's going on?
Would see visually, I think had a mental illness, were severely addicted to drugs. And I think there's no resources out there that address those. No. And there was a property that I was considering purchasing that was right by Venice Beach. And it was down the street from the new homeless shelter that was there. That was the one that everyone was upset about because it was in the middle of Venice. And I think the average cost was like $500,000 a room. People said, why do they need to be right in the middle of Venice at such a high cost? And the benefit would be if you sold that to a developer, the money that that person would bring in to the community could more than pay for so much more shelter. Why is it here?
Yeah. Shout out to the free ego. Welcome to the party. It's been a while. Indeed it is. Always good to see ya. Thank you. Zippy DSM Lee, our stream sponsor, said drug legalization is moot without follow through of social aid and following crime, littering, and waste laws. Yeah, I absolutely agree. The problem is that they take each of these problems, the drug addiction or homelessness or poverty, and treat it like it's its own problem in a vacuum. When, yes, it is its own problem, but it is affected by everything around that problem. So drug addiction is affected by homelessness and vice versa. And poverty is like all of that stuff works together. And they seem to know that when it's convenient for them. But then, they kind of just, when it comes time to, okay, so what's your solution? Oh, we'll just throw money at it. Like, come on, man. How does being homeless, it doesn't justify it. He's just saying there's more of it if you're not inside a home. Working sucks. Indeed it does. It's been like 5 months. Damn. Well, get that money. Thank you very, very much, guys. Very much appreciated. Let's see. He said, yes, neoliberalism is a best term. It means an oligopoly controlling everything. I definitely see that. That
person would bring in to the community can more than pay for so much more shelter. Why is he here? But I remember following up on that because I knew it was such a big deal for that community. And throughout a lot of the process, it was never more than, I believe, 60% occupied because they enforced a dry policy that they could not bring in drugs, alcohol, be drunk.
You're nailing it. Yeah. This is you're absolutely correct.
So this goes back to what Ian's been saying, and I'm very curious to see how Hasan here is going to twist this. But like all they're saying, you can come and have shelter, as he just explained. Even a bear goes into the cave. All we want is for you to not be on drugs. Now, again, I've been a drug addict. I completely understand the mentality of you can't do this if you're doing drugs. Okay, I just won't do it. And if that means have a place to sleep, maybe I haven't been there, but I've had that mentality. But you know what? Eventually, I made the decision. Eventually, as you can see, there's a roof over my head. Eventually, I realized I had to make a decision. And, I don't know. I don't want to dog anybody for their particular experiences, but just talking generally, there is just no accountability. There's just no accountability. Yes, I believe that addiction is I don't think it's a disease, but I do think it is something that once you're down the rabbit hole, it's not just a choice. But the fact is that doing drugs the first time absolutely is a choice. It almost won't be solved as long as someone can profit off of it, just like racism. Bingo. Yep. Dave Banner said, remember Hasan saying he lives modestly and only spends on basic necessities while he's in a $2 million mansion? Yup. Dry policy simply means showing that you will put effort into fixing your problem, which they won't. Yeah, it's a way of showing your level of commitment. And that's, I think, completely fair. I think that's completely fair. If you're taking our tax dollars for shelter, food, then at the very least, we're not asking you to even work for it. Just don't be fucked up. And then again, I get what the drugs do to your mind, but if many people, many people have quit heroin. It's up to you.
But I've also seen a side of it where people just did not want to assimilate back into a community, that they felt more free. I'm not saying this is everyone, but they felt more free not participating in society and having that freedom really to do it.
What you're describing is actually 100% correct. Yeah. Homeless shelters are actually more violent spaces for a lot of homeless people than the opposite. You would think like, what the fuck? That's a shelter. That's like so much better. It's not.
Then why do we even have the shelter in the first place? Let's tear down the shelter and put that money towards something that's actually going to help. Again, just going based on what he's saying.
It's actually where a lot of the assaults and a lot of the robberies are committed. And on top of that,
you just said
if you have items that you care about, or even like a dog, for example, you can't bring your dog. Correct. And you have to go cold turkey
if you're homeless and you have a dog, fuck you. Fuck you. I get it. If I was ever in a situation where I had to go, Morty is all I fucking have had for the last 15 years. But there is no way that I would have him living out on the streets with me. Crazy. So he says churches cannot even house the homeless because of regulations and the city being NIMBYs. Not in my backyard. Ian said, why should an organization house a homeless person that is just going to steal all the copper out of the house to buy dope? These are legitimate questions that Hasan either is very aware are not answered by his positions, or he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
On drugs, if you have any sort of like abuse and substance issues, you have to go cold turkey. So a lot of people choose not to do that. And while we all probably looked at that and go, oh, fuck off, you don't have any fucking rights, why go to the shelter and fix yourself up?
What? How did we get from you need to do better to you don't have any rights? What? Just put a 1 in the chat if you feel like homeless people don't have or shouldn't have any rights. Because maybe I'm out of the loop here. But that was a big jump from I don't want to give you my money so that you can go buy drugs to you don't have any rights. Ooh, free ego. Damn. All right. So we got
you
one.
Don't have any fucking rights. Why go to the shelter and fix yourself up? The reality is that is actually, as far as like a compassionate and more ethical approach to homelessness, the reality is that this is why a lot of people advocate for housing first homelessness policies, where people have some semblance of autonomy still to begin the healing process, the mental health and the substance abuse therapy process. That is a more permanent and also a more secure way to deal with this issue. But that's on the tackling the existing homelessness part. What I was talking about with respect.
All right, so tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Back to housing is usually tackling it on the other side, because there's two sides of this rope. You gotta shut off this part and you gotta shut off this part. This part is being caused by a lack of access to like affordable housing and being priced out of the housing market. This part is just way more complicated. You have to actually convince people to go into housing, even if you offer permanent shelter. Sometimes homeless people don't want it; they don't trust it, and they're scared. And there is a mechanism of enforcement that you need to engage with there. But I mean that requires hiring a fuckload of social workers and genuinely trying to tackle this issue.
Right. So at what point then especially with the numbers of homeless that we have, especially with the illegal immigrants, the criminal aliens coming in, at what point is it reasonable for people to say, okay, I don't think, just giving money like this, having the shelters, having homes, or giving them homes is helping. And then what is going on with my camera today? Come on, what the hell? I forgot what I was going to say. God damn it. Lost it. I lost it.
Stupid.
Social workers and genuinely trying to tackle this issue.
Yeah. So at what point is it reasonable for people to say, we can't help this issue like that? We can't just have housing for people. There's not enough housing for people who have money and want to buy the home, much less giving it to the people who can't. And at what point are you going to see that maybe this is not the right avenue? They're scared simply means they know there will be stipulations for them getting the free housing, aka they can't be strung out and have to get a job. It sounds harsh, but like again, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. But it sounds harsh, but you're spot on. You're spot on. And the other thing is, if it wasn't this harsh, then we would see that putting people in homes would help homelessness. That's not the issue.
Instead of just kind of, playing chicken with the homeless encampments and just like pushing them one street over and then being like, oh, we solved the problem. You know what I mean? Like, look,
that's certainly something, but where should that be for homeless? Should that be in the Pacific Palisades? Should that be Beverly Hills? What's to say it shouldn't be in Santa Monica, but it's okay in Riverside?
I think that it should be wherever homeless people are. I think that as far as like,
did he not just earlier say, well, the homeless people are in California because of the policies and the weather? So it's not just like, well, where are the homeless people? Oh, they happen to be right here. No, they're going to specific places for specific reasons.
It's not even shelters. Housing first policies should exist in most communities. I think that it would genuinely, in the long term, benefit those communities, because then you just don't have homeless people in the fucking streets.
I already don't have homeless people in my community, so I don't know what you're talking about. Every community should have whatever the hell he's talking about. Ian said, in my opinion, all homeless encampments should be legally required to be in hyper-liberal voting areas like Hasan's neighborhood. I ain't mad at it.
Let's say
defecating.
Let's say Santa Monica would be a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Brings in a lot of business, a lot of technology, a lot of really wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to put a community of homeless people in the middle of that and say this is where they are and therefore that's where we should build for homeless, it would drive out a lot of the people because they would feel less safe.
Wait. You mean the people with money? You mean the people who contribute to society? The people who allow for there to be some type of safety net for the homeless people? That's the people that you're talking about, right?
They wouldn't want to do business there, and I feel like property taxes
probably make the housing market a little bit better in Santa Monica.
Then you get property values going down. You get less commerce in Santa Monica. The area slowly degenerates, and I feel like then that would continue to spread. So, like,
why is this guy here? He has not said one word. He looks very tired, and it's just distracting.
Overall, the benefit would be lower than if you
did he get in a fight? What is this?
Say we're going to put money into mental health, into drug addiction. It doesn't need to be in the middle of the city, but it could exist over here, where land is more affordable and our opportunity cost is lower, if that makes sense.
Well, the way I see it,
the irony is that they'd all hire 24/7 private security for their houses if that were to happen. Hey, that's job creation. That is job creation. Yeah, watch how fast it changes. Just like when the BLM riders went into wealthy areas in California. Not in my backyard.
As someone, who owns a house in West Hollywood.
Why? Why don't you give away all your money?
As someone who lived in these neighborhoods that you speak of as well. I lived in Brentwood before.
No, that's too close to me.
in more affordable apartments, which was fucking awful.
Still expensive.
Yeah, but still incredibly expensive with many, many roommates.
It's just it's so funny how you can go from talking about these homeless people to how horrible your apartment was. Like it's, I don't know what the word is. What is the word? Everything here has been extremely difficult for me to articulate because he encompasses I don't know what it is. Let's keep watching. I don't know what it is.
I think that the option is, do you want homeless people to keep moving around and shitting on the streets, or do you want them to shit in the toilet with a roof over their head? And I think like if that is the alternative, and what you bring up with Venice is actually a good idea, because I mean, not a perfect solution, because ultimately
dissonance
that didn't eradicate homelessness in Venice, right? But with some genuine changes into the way that like the shelters process works, with like hopes for permanent shelter solutions, which currently are non-existent. I think that it doesn't matter where you put these places. Like it doesn't matter where you have rehab facilities, for example, because like
that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, cognitive dissonance is right. They'd be able to weave in and out of that as if you didn't. Like there's at no point did he ever see those people as himself, because then you would, a normal person, I don't know what exactly it is that you would say or do, but if I was talking about, how horrible the conditions are for homeless people and then I was going to talk about somewhere that I lived, then if I was going to complain about it, which is, I mean, whatever. It doesn't mean that just because you have a home doesn't mean you're not allowed to complain about it. But I would at least be aware of the fact that, it's better than being homeless. But yeah, I really hated living there. Something like that. But there's just nothing. Just like, well, those are homeless people and I'm me. They're two different things. That's it definitely that's it. He's never had to think about other people in a legitimate way, and that's why now that his channel is he said all this crazy shit and his channel exploded in the wrong way. His membership dropped so hard. He's falling apart because that's all he's ever had. Not only is it all he has, it's all he's ever had. Is other people's attention. That's it. Hey, shout out to Tech. Welcome to the party. Hey, we also got Mike W in the building. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Lyndon B. Johnson, War on Poverty. How's that going? Well, depending on who you ask, pretty well. If you're working for an NGO, it's going really, really well. Welcome to the party, guys.
These places, like it doesn't matter where you have, rehab facilities, for example. Because like think about it this.
Oh, wait. Come on, what are we doing?
This way.
There we go.
Property in Malibu is so
you saw nothing,
right? Well, you know what Malibu has? A fuck ton of rehab facilities. Does that change the property value? No. Why? Because the people that are going to those rehab facilities are rich people. They're the rich people rehab facilities.
But they also,
and we all know that we have to hate rich people other than me. Yeah, people. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So aren't necessarily the ones defecating on the street. And I feel like the defecating on the street usually is an indicator of severe mental illness to the point where they cannot function on their own without assistance.
I don't know, man. I think at this point, it's just, we talked about how you kind of settle into your situation. And I can imagine that, like, if I'm homeless, I'm, maybe, yeah, sure. I'm on drugs. I'm homeless. I'm not showering regularly. I'm not doing any of that. Then I don't really think it needs to be some mental illness to be like, well, where else am I going to go? Like, everybody's just going where they're going. Just go where they're going. You know what I mean? So I don't know about that. Hey, shout out to Garrett Grant gifting a membership. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, that comes with a drink for my co-host Morty. Welcome to the party. Shout out to Mountain Man 85 for getting that gifted membership from Garrett here. Make sure you join the Discord server. Remember, it is free to join the Discord server, but if you are a member of the channel, definitely you want to be in there, because not only do you get the free chat channel, but you get the disciple chat where everybody is. We got the word of the day, the watch party, and of course, the after party channel. After every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern stream, we go in there for an after party where we don't have to worry about YouTube censors or anything, and you're not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It's a good old time. Come and join us. Thank you again, Garrett.
And those would not be the people who could voluntarily go and like, I'm going to.
Also, that's not entirely correct either.
Not 100%, but I would say
because in a lot of instances, it's just like we don't have public bathrooms. You know what I mean? So where the fuck is he supposed to shit? Right?
Yeah.
Every other country
I'm
you go
talking
to.
about the extremes where you know I used to work in West Hollywood, and I would see people out front on Sunset Plaza pulling their pants down in front of traffic and just you know.
People are severely and like genuinely cripplingly mentally ill due to the circumstances that I described. And those people need help. And part of that help comes from, again, like not directly institutionalizing those people, but
so no, we're not going to get a clear answer. One of the things that we could do is think about it a little bit harder.
Some level of institutionalization in a significantly more empathetic and significantly more compassionate and more ethical ways.
I would agree with that.
And I think that this is something that like everyone kind of agrees on. Yeah. But there's a very there's a very shitty part of this conversation that we will never agree on, which is the unfortunate reality that like housing prices might need to be devalued a little bit in the process of like building or not completely abolishing zoning restrictions in its entirety, but at least like allowing for or allowing for certain types of housing to be developed in communities. California has a 55% homeownership rate. Homeowners are very powerful as an entity here in this state. They don't want any housing. They don't want any housing to be built.
I agree with you on that. That's something that I've said is that the building process in Los Angeles specifically is so terrible. It is so bad. I made a video on this years ago about the process it takes to build a multifamily building here in LA. The amount of open space that you need to account for, the amount of parking. Parking is a huge one. Even if you're close to nearby transit, you need a certain amount of parking spaces for the amount of bedrooms that you have per square foot. Yep. In addition, common space, open area, all of these things that were not accounted for when you were saying, oh, well, we need to not only have free housing and healthcare, but school as well. That all this other stuff comes with owning a home, comes with being a productive member of society. And these people have demonstrated, not that they're bad people, they might be, but not that, inherently that they're bad people, but they are not capable. They are not capable of keeping up, a life with all the things that Graham just mentioned. Yeah, it's like just have the therapist, the taxpayers pay for the therapist and the drugs. Yeah. Instead, Obama was taking government funding away from cities and towns that had multifamily housing restrictions. That's a lot of negatives. Okay, so he's taking government funding away from cities that had multifamily, so they didn't have the multi. Okay, so he was incentivizing single family as over multifamily. Gotcha. All right. Make the cost so unbelievably high to build any sort of multifamily here in Los Angeles. And so for a developer, for it to even make financial sense to break even, they have to build luxury units. That's the only thing they can build. Otherwise, there's no financial. They would lose money on that.
Yep.
But also building ADUs is so difficult in Los Angeles. And they came out with this program a few years ago saying, we're going to accept most ADUs. And I was really looking forward to this because I have a duplex and I'd love to turn the garage at that point into another unit, 2 units. And there was a proposal that would allow you to build 5 stories if you were within, I think it was like a mile from a major intersection or half a mile from public transit. And I was so looking forward to that because I could take that duplex and build 5 to 6 units. And that would provide a lot more housing. And everyone in my neighborhood would be able to do that. But that failed because people didn't want, and I kind of understand if you're a house, you don't want to be necessarily living next to 5 stories and have people look down on your backyard and lose that privacy. And like, I get that too, but they make buildings so difficult here in LA.
Yeah.
So, Ian's saying, what that means is if your town didn't want to build a Section 8 housing complexes, that he would take funding from your town. I mean, I don't love that, but it does. It falls in line with the Democratic ideology. So, I mean, I don't like it, but it's not like egregious. Lefty logic. Fix the problems caused by monopolies by creating more monopolies. They do not understand. No, they don't. Virgil Kane said, where I worked in Manchester, England, 60% were ex-military, often with serious mental health disorders caused by their service, most commonly PTSD. Yep, that is, and if you're gonna deconstruct the levels of homelessness, excuse me, if you're going to, or the different groups of homeless, then, you know, the type of person who is, you know, has an affliction that, okay, if we can solve this affliction, then they could be a productive member of society versus somebody who's choosing to just not. That would be useful. Because then we can talk about, okay, well, this person is exhibiting these behaviors. So even if they are on drugs, because I mean, right now, yes, it is a necessary. Like all I'm saying is that I don't necessarily think that if there are programs for people who do not have homes, I don't think necessarily that having drugs in your system should be, you know, it's something that cancels everything out. I think if we really want to help people and we are you know, comprehensively actually helping people, then it should already be factored in that some people are going to be on drugs and there's you know, ways to help people off those drugs. But right now, that's not what they're trying to do. They're you know, just trying to pretend, I don't know, that the issue isn't there, or that everybody is mentally ill because of being in a war. Like, it's just not that simple. Well, there's levels, you know. There's the front facing, and then there's the what do you say, the housing insecure. One thing it does imports Democrat voters into non-Democrat cities. Yup.
Yard and lose that privacy. And like, I get that too, but they make building so difficult here in LA.
Yeah. I agree. I think that they do that deliberately. They do that for one, because like, you know, a lot of people say their quality of life or the character of the neighborhood will be eviscerated, destroyed, right? Or they also don't want their housing prices to devalue either, technically, because now there's more housing availability. You know what I mean? Or because they're next to a fucking building all of a sudden. And to that I say, you know, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of struggle there. But
that's his big solution. That's how he's going to win these people over. Yeah. There's going to be some struggle.
In the long term, in the long run, it will yield tremendous benefits in the form of not having people that have been homeless for 5 years, 6 years that's taking a shit outside of your house, or just like trying to break into your fucking house, breaking into your car.
You sure about that? You're sure about that? You seem awfully confident.
Like I've had all of these things happen. It's the cost of living in a big city.
There you go.
It shouldn't have to be. There are plenty of examples of cities that have been able to eradicate this problem, not entirely, but have done a much better, you know, have dealt with it much better.
Like what cities?
I was just going to say, okay, fine. What cities? What are they doing? Let's do that.
I am, of course, going to bring up, if you are not familiar with this, I'm surprised, Red Vienna. Austria is the country we're talking about.
Oh, well, in Austria. Okay. All right. Maybe there's a point here. Maybe there's a point. Australian economics are known for, you know, at least being known. Roger said, most of the ex-military homeless I met turned to drugs and alcohol because their lives living on the street was so shit. Yeah, and so that's kind of what I mean, that obviously that is a choice that you can make. But the circumstances might make a very bad choice seem a lot more reasonable to anybody who's in that position. Oh, he's shivering. You see him shivering? Because of the, I'm glad he's at least up here. Usually when it's raining and he's shivering, he's under the table. But he's, oh, you can't see it as much anymore. Yeah, you can see it. What a weirdo. Ian said, why do they need to break into your car or house when they can easily get free food? Zippy said, as a midwit, I'm disgusted. People think Hasan is a midwit. Bruh ain't even a half-wit. Oh, man. My excuse for what? For doing drugs? I just wanted to have fun. Ian said, every city has free food programs, churches, and charities for distributing food to the poor. Yeah, and again, this just goes back to the idea that it's about, do people want change, and are people willing to do what it takes to enact that change? Shout out to Burner Popcorn Account in the building. Welcome to the party. Hope you are having a good week as well. Glad See ya.
In Vienna, 65% of all homes are actually public housing. They are not-for-profit housing, basically. It's a concept where the government offers many benefits to develop housing, and then basically have the rent exist specifically to either further develop more public housing or to maintain the housing itself. Housing that is not created with the sole purpose of accumulating more value to the single sole owner or whatever corporation owns it, but instead housing created by basically taking away some of the barriers of developing this project that can only be done by the government, like offering a lot for $1 with the express purpose of like building cooperatively owned housing, and then working with like credit unions to basically get investment in, like to get a loan from a bank, only to have the existing property, once it's completed and built, and the rent in said existing property pay for the mortgage and the maintenance fees.
I've seen.
Shout out to Burger Popcorn accounts. People like Hasan and Taylor Lorenz know everything wrong with modern society. I said shit. Dilly to that. Dilly to that. I'm like, oh, you mean like loosening regulations? No, we can't have that. We need more regulations. We need more, not less. Hey, shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party. So can you explain to me what the hell this special needs child is talking about? He's trying to come up with some reason why we just need to give all the people who can't live productive lives and add to society. We need to give them more of what we put into society. I don't know. Shout out to Unwanted Foe with the $2 super chat. Said it's communion time. Indeed, it is. That's right. Every single super chat comes with a treat from my co-host Maury, and of course that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Thank you, very, 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 very much.
Existing property pay for the mortgage and the maintenance fees.
I've seen quite a few countries offer that of like $1, but in a lot of those instances, it's usually to promote people to move into a city that no one else wants to live in, or that is declining in population. They need more people in there, and so they use that as a resort to say, "Hey, come here." Be no different than people like doing that in Riverside and saying like, "Hey, we want more people over here. We want to be more of a hub." But I think Los Angeles and a lot of California specifically, in a higher price neighborhoods, they want to attract top talent, and they want people like that to move here and innovate. And they don't have a problem with declining population to that extent where they have to incentivize people, and land is so expensive.
I don't think it should be a byproduct. Vancouver doesn't have a declining population, but it's not to incentivize more people to move in. It's to basically it's to basically do the lightest form of government intervention you can do.
Is that really what you want? The lightest form of government intervention? Because I'm pretty sure you started this out by saying people are stupid. We need to give it to the government because people are stupid, as if the government isn't made up of people who are stupid. You said leftist logic. Regulations are a problem. Let's add some regulations onto the on top of the regulations for the regulations. Well, and Unwanted Foe intelligently says they don't regulate the regulations. Who's going to regulate the regulators and regulate the regulations of the regulated cities? And so the irony is that Hasan's rhetoric doesn't address how to keep them from being homeless once you give them a free house. Exactly. That's the part about it. Just has to sound good. As long as it sounds like it is a thing, where even people like us are like, wait, is he good enough? Good enough, because now he's said another dumb thing. And by the time you can like, okay, wait. So he's saying this and just piles on another dumb thing over and over and over and over. And you throw so much at the wall that you either are like, oh, this guy is all over the map, or it's like, wow, this guy's so smart. Look at all the stuff that he just said that I don't understand. Therefore, it must be smart. Exactly. Daniel Cabrera. So that's how Russia should resettle Chernobyl. Better than nothing, right? Better than nothing. Yeah, that's definitely not their goal at all. Versus one of my friends absolutely loathes Hasan and Destiny and points out that these dudes have nothing positive to contribute to other men. At least Fresh and Fit Andrew Tate preach self-improvement.
Haram!
I mean, when you're right, you're right. When you're right, you're right. At least there is something of substance. And you guys know how much I do not like, particularly Fresh and Fit. But at least there's a core of something. There's a little nugget of truth. There's a little nugget of something that can be used to improve yourself, to improve, yeah. Hasan, nothing. Like an ex-smoker who hates smokers, classic narcissists. Me or him? What are you talking about?
And utilize the same capitalistic system and the same structures without like completely undermining it to offer affordable housing as a low-cost alternative. But because that system is not funded at all and has actually been, disfavored by homeowners and all of these people that are incentivized to consistently keep their housing prices up in places like Amsterdam, the number of cooperatively owned nonprofit housing units have declined. And that's why even in a place like Amsterdam, for example, you see since the 2000s, the cost of living fucking skyrocket and become a genuine.
Okay. And what is the relevance of what you're saying? This is the most egregious version of just saying things. You're just saying things. Like, I don't really care about what the housing I don't care what housing in Amsterdam is like unless you are going to somehow connect it to housing in America. I don't live in Amsterdam.
Problem.
So where do you draw the line then between public housing and becoming a landlord? I mean, do you think like a property like this should be owned by the government and someone should have to pay way less because it's owned by the government? Like, should someone have the right to live in West Hollywood, for instance?
Yeah, if like, I am not in the business of like completely eradicating private home ownership. I am a private homeowner myself.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, you sure about that? But I forgot, of course, that the champagne socialist is definitely gonna be a homeowner. Versus my friend also points out that guys like Hasan can treat women like shit and get away with it because they're lefties who claim to be for women's rights. Yeah, the level of like sexual debauchery that you see in the I don't, not like only the left, but while we're talking about it, the left wing streamers, it's so, I don't even know what the word is. There's just so much. They're all like, as soon as they get an audience, all they do is find out how to funnel girls from wherever into their DMs. And it's all about, these are obviously young girls because being a Twitch streamer is something impressive to them. And it's like, come on, man. I don't know. And exactly, because they'll say things that go towards women's rights. And say, well, Hasan would never do that. Sure, you sure? You sure? Once a host are the hosts of that show completely soft? They give them almost no pushback on anything, even when it makes no sense. Yeah, I did not. I would have expected. I don't know the other guy who literally has said nothing. But Marty, what are you doing? But yeah, Graham is a very he understands economics very well. I'm not really sure why there's no pushback. I've never really seen this show before. I used to subscribe to Graham Stephan, but his stuff was very very vague, and it was just like money is good, and when you do this, more money happens. I mean, I'm like, oh, okay, you watch 5 videos and you kind of get it. But yeah, interesting. A shout out to Bakjul. Is it backwards? Oh yeah, I don't know how to say that. I'm gonna call you Ryu. Welcome to the party. Said, wait, so you think the right does not do that? What did I just say? Bernard said, Graham is extremely wishy-washy and afraid of being canceled. That makes sense. He's vague. No wonder he understands someone's mind.
Like completely eradicating private home ownership. I'm a private homeowner myself. What I simply want to do is
okay. So I said no, not just the left, but now that we're talking about it, when it comes to left-wing streamers, like, can you name 3 right-wing streamers who have had sexual things? That was my only point.
is make it unaffordable for people to generate and accumulate capital from a home that they're not living inside of, a home that they're basically renting out. That's what it means to
they're not in politics. Their whole thing is precisely that. Exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about political streamers. They're we're gonna do it at the end, Nick. We're gonna do it at the end. But what I was specifically talking about when we're talking about people who are instructing others on the politics of how it should be. It's just chalk it up to you missed the. I'm not going to go through the everything and every caveat I just did. Either rewind it or just give me the benefit of the doubt there. Burner said, I'd like to nominate Hasan to relocate to a socialist country to live out his utopian dreams. Second.
Commodify housing. Now that's a very long-term goal, and obviously that's not going to be happening anytime soon in the United States of America. So the solutions I present in the interim period, in the short term, is to literally just like eviscerate the problem that currently exists with homelessness.
Yeah. So let's discuss this on an ethical level, because I think that would be really fun, because I know you two have very different opinions on the ethics of land ownership / obviously being a landlord.
Yeah. So where was that opinion? And so if he's one of these people who just tries to dance online so he doesn't get canceled, then, obviously this is not going to be what I thought it was going to be, because I knew Graham for being, a very rational, not even political economics from the point of making money and not, left or right. Can we trade Hasan for Javier Milei? I mean, if you can get that to go down, and they're like, yeah, sure, just take him. We'll take Hasan for I don't think it'll happen, but I am all for it. Just you wait.
Sure. Graham has his own unique experiences because he's obviously a property owner like that, and you probably have your own respective opinion. Let's hear what you have to say about that.
I mean, I think that shutting off a necessary resource by making it a profitable business, a profitable venture, is like something that I'm entirely against. If you want to still, do that.
Why? You keep saying things, but you don't actually have anything to say. Why are you against this? Maybe you can convince me. Maybe I will be the next person saying landlords are evil, but you don't even make an argument. Like, this is something that I'm just like totally against, and like, I'm against it. Oh, that's it. That was the end. Okay, fair enough.
Something that I mean.
Let's see. Ryu said, one reason is right wing have to keep up appearances, family values. The left is open about it. No. Entirely
against. If you want to still, do that, you could do commercial real estate, which is a whole different can of worms.
Different
because of the business.
Yeah, but let's say it's a mom and pop business. How is that any different from a household? I feel like a family is also a business. They have to run a business just the same way as a mom and pop liquor store on the corner would have to run a business. You're taking in money, you have expenses, you have to save a little bit for a rainy day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the same thing?
No, because you don't have to live inside of your business in the same way. A business can thrive and survive even if the barrier in that regard exists, right? A business can still get a bank loan to be able to pay for these sorts of things. Whereas I think the similar process should not exist for home ownership.
Wouldn't getting a loan
again? Why
be the same thing as renting a house?
Get a bank loan to be able to pay for these sorts of things. Whereas I think the similar process should not exist for home ownership.
Wouldn't getting a loan be the same thing as renting a house from a landlord? Because then you're owing money to someone else, probably the government, who you're going to be paying 5 to 7% interest to.
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, absolutely. Well, obviously, we don't have Soviet bloc style public housing in this country. So I'm just simply saying that in the short term, these are the this is what I advocate for in the short term to like at least tackle some of the issues with availability of housing that creates homelessness.
From my perspective, I see landlords as providing a service, and I'm trying not to like include the slumlords, because there's certainly people that do the bare minimum, like just basic above like the bare minimum living conditions to try to maximize profit. But talking about like a lot of landlords that I see.
Yeah, and there's obviously that in any industry, in any group, you're gonna have your bad eggs, but that's not what Hasan is talking about. He thinks just by owning property and renting it out to somebody else, you're doing something immoral. I would love to understand why, but he's just said it a lot of times and hasn't said why. There's an interesting Hasan has amassed personal wealth and not given his money away to people in need. Yep. That's why they call him the champagne socialist.
Above like the bare minimum living conditions to try to maximize profit. But talking about like a lot of landlords that I see, the vast majority are mom and pop. They own 3 or fewer properties. They a lot of times have owned properties from their parents that they just turn into rentals. They own the house. Instead of selling it, they'll choose to rent it out to someone else while they buy something else and then eventually rent that. But from what I've seen and what I've seen a lot of people do is that they'll buy a property that no one else would consider. And these would be properties that need a lot of work, that maybe an owner user doesn't have the funds to fix up. They don't have the time. They don't have the interest. Someone else goes and fixes that up and rents it out to someone who doesn't want to own a home. And there's a lot of people out there that renting is more beneficial than owning. If they're only going to live there for a few years.
Yeah. And I mean, especially, for if you're younger, where you don't have the resources to, buy a home, then renting. And of course, Hasan, well, then we should just make it cheaper.
Stupid.
But obviously that's not how it works.
If they just want to test out an area, home ownership is really burdensome, as I'm sure you've seen, with property taxes, insurance, repairs, so miscellaneous things. Right now, it's cheaper to rent than it is.
Unwanted vote. So I can't wait until some squatters show up at Hasan's house. Would he go through the legal route to remove them? Or will he stick by his words here and just let them chill for free? I mean, I'm surprised this hasn't happened already. You'd think that, you could be like, well, it's Hasan, so he wouldn't kick us out. Even if they're, you're already dumb enough to be watching Hasan. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. I'm sure I can't imagine that he hasn't been doxxed. Not saying that that's a good thing to dox people. Shouldn't be doxing people. But I'd be surprised. Rayu says, what happens when rent is as much as a mortgage, which is happening in big cities? Well, that's a good question, but all the more reason why if the rent is this much and the mortgage is this much, and you can rent by the month or the year or the whatever versus 30 years on a mortgage, all the more reason why you'd want to rent. Why I don't have the economics to, I genuinely don't have the answers as to why rent is as much as mortgage. But if we're seeing that rent is going up where mortgage prices are not going up as much, all the more reason why you would want to not what's the word I'm looking for? Commit to a mortgage and just rent. Burner says, my mom is technically a landlord with one rental house she relies on for her retirement income. She charges well under market rent for the area because she likes her tenants. Yeah, and that is something that, that probably happens a lot less now than it used to, but that used to be kind of a thing. That if you were a good tenant, or it was somebody that you knew, that it was something where you'd be helping out the person who's renting, not squeezing them like a slumlord. And so, sure, there's definitely people who have, obviously, as everybody is more broke, everybody's going to be more willing to do shady shit, which is not good and whatever. But yeah, I don't think that really speaks to the why owning land and renting it out is bad. I was on the streets. I was in college and I lived in a home. So there you go. True. Yeah, it'll definitely push you out of the city, but I don't, in terms of renting versus buying, I'm not really sure how that affects that. Garrett said, same here. Most likely outcome, in my opinion, is the squatters would trick Hasan into running them pockets. Imagine it's like, yo, guys, check this out. These guys said they're gonna, I don't even know. What would they do for Hasan? I don't know. They're gonna do all my editing, and they just want room and board, dude. Texas is a good example of rent increase. Oh, I definitely won't be moving there. Or if the rent is going up in Texas, does that mean that it's a better place to have real estate? The housing market will even out eventually and become more affordable. The coming crash this year may speed that along. Yikes. Have you looked at rentals in big cities? It's not a blue-red thing. Well, I mean, what cities are really red? We don't really have red cities like that. I mean, there's cities that are more red than others, but a city is, I mean, even like Austin, Nashville, these are not red places. They're more conservative, but they're still, you know, they're democratic. But I didn't even say that it was, but sure. More, come on, man. Burner said, what's also interesting is how people are salivating for a housing crash so they can afford homes. But I was shopping for real estate in 2009 and prices were insanely low because no one was buying. Interesting. That, you know, the same kind of thing with cars, that everybody's like, oh, this big crash and all the cars are going to be so cheap. Well, if everybody's scared, ain't nobody buying. Amongst the night said rent's going up everywhere, not just the big cities. Yep. Reality is that if there's another housing crash, people are not going to be clamoring to buy homes because they don't have the money and got laid off from jobs. Yeah, I don't think we can. I mean, it's coming, but I don't know how. I should say, I don't know how we're gonna. I think we're screwed.
Property taxes, insurance, repairs, so miscellaneous things. Right now, it's cheaper to rent than it is to own.
What amusement or mockery have you seen? I think you are confusing accountability with mockery.
The majority of Los Angeles.
I think ultimately the sense of security that you get from having permanent shelter when you're a homeowner is you know, much better overall than having the fear of, you know, your landlord literally changing your rent just because they can, because the market conditions are favorable to do such a thing, because
they have to feed their family and inflation and other, not just because they can. But Ryu brings up a good point here about Airbnb, that the Airbnb market that also increases the rental market. Absolutely. Do you remember when Airbnb was like legit, like in the days where like not everybody knew it was a thing? Like it was rustling and bustling, but you know, some people would be like, oh, well, what hotel are you going to? Like, oh, we're not getting a hotel. We're getting an Airbnb. What? What's that? Oh, honey, sweetie, baby. Let me tell you something. It was good for a long while. Shout out to Johnny. What is good? Hey. People know my name like that. I'm the Indian Jesus. Good to see you, brother. But yeah, that's dangerous. But as we said, if they're not blue, they are blue and a mess. I'm pretty confident with what I said. So you can either misunderstand me purposely or take my word for it. I don't know. It's up to you. Ryu said, good old capitalism making everything too expensive. That would be the regulations on top of good old capitalism. It was cheapest in the beginning. It always is, right? Always cheapest in the beginning. Nope.
And regardless of that, though, I mean, like I said, public housing does not necessarily have to mean permanent shelter in the sense that like you own the house that you're in. Singapore, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Here, let me bring this over here. Hold on. We got this. Whoop. They're gonna add it to what should we call it soon. But so I don't even know how to say that. Blanco Brigante, is that how you say it? Yeah, you have Airbnb and you're taking off one property. All you need is one and you're on. Yeah, in the beginning. Now the well, Actually, I don't know, because I haven't really looked into it, because I remember people who were doing Airbnb in the beginning and making money off of it. And then it went downhill. But now it might be so shitty that because of all like the fees and the cleaning fees, and you get an extra fee for moving the lamp and this and that, then it might be worth it. But it certainly isn't worth it for the consumer anymore. I would never get an Airbnb. Well, not never. It depends on where I am. But like, especially like just little old me, like just chilling in a hotel room. I got my vape. I'm good. So we said another crash is going to have the market bought up by big global IP investment conglomerates. Airbnb went corporate quick. Yep. Yeah. So Blanca saying it's so pricey again though. So you can win. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's coming full circle where it was cheap for the consumer and also beneficial and lucrative for the owner. And then it went to a place where it was shit for the Airbnb owner because they were trying to make it better for the consumer. But they went too far and they made it shitty for the consumer. And then they had to go back and like add all these other fees to keep people on the app renting out their properties in the first place. So yeah, it is all shit. But that is right. Everything in real estate, right, is location.
Permanent shelter in the sense that like you own the house that you're in. Singapore, I think, has a system similar to that as well, where you're basically leasing it from the government, right? And you know, these are places where they've been able to tackle this crisis head on before it even existed, and it still works on a rental basis. If you want the opportunity to rent a home, you can absolutely do so. I guess the way I see the world is that I wish for a future where people don't even need to be mom and pop landlords as a nest egg for survival. That like they don't need to even do that, because a lot of those things are taken care of through social safety nets when you are no longer a productive laborer, when you have retired. But of course, that is a fuckload of other issues as well.
How would that play in though if you want a higher quality of living?
Okay. Now we're getting some actual questions, some actual real questions.
Let's say that you don't want that and you want to be able to make more money or work harder and get something nicer.
Then go ahead. I mean, it's not. What I'm talking about with respect to like full-blown decommodifying housing is, again, so far out in the future that it's like unimaginable to talk about from today's standards of living and the way that we experience society right now, because there are other complications that exist there. Like, for example, housing is not the only issue. Part of the problem that I mentioned is commutes and travel, right? One way to make traffic congestion infinitely better and more livable
is to get rid of all the traffic.
In a place like California is public transit. We're very spread out, but unfortunately, we also have made zero attempts to better our public transit system in this state in general, and certainly not in Los Angeles. That is also a necessity. Walkability, like making walkable cities and making this city more walkable and simultaneously have better public transit options is an absolute necessity for low-income people to survive.
I would love to see micro apartments. I'm talking like 300, 250 square foot. That's what.
How do you guys feel about that? Would you think that is a good option? I'm hesitant on that. The micro apartments thing. Because I feel like it is kind of leading us down this you'll own nothing and be happy road. Where like, yeah, you pay $200 a month, but you know, it's a little box that you can't do anything. And once that becomes part of society, I don't know. That's a little sus. Blanco said, don't let the city fool you. Just don't let the city fool you just off its benefits. Yep. Facts. Burner Popcorn account said, I mean, why not just have college dorm rooms but for adults? Yeah, that's essentially what they're talking about, right? And I don't know. I don't think that's a good move. I mean, I do think people need cheaper options, but I don't know.
I would have loved when I was 20, 21 years old. You're working all day, you're out and about. You could live in the central part of wherever you want to live, and that's all you need. You need a bed, a kitchen, TV, bathroom, 300 square feet.
I don't think that's a solution. I mean, it's just like, sure, if you want to create an opportunity for like cheaper living, that's fine. That's great. But like, I don't even think when I say affordable housing, when we talk about like, again, going back to Vienna, 65% public homeowner, like publicly owned housing availability.
Shout out to Indie Films. And everybody knows traffic is a problem because there aren't enough roads. Everybody should get their own road. Dilly dilly. That's a good one. That's a good one. So Blanco's saying they got that over in my hometown. I don't really want y'all knowing where I'm from. But for adults and small families, it's just like I said, we do need that. We do need it. But it's just a weird. I'm not in the position to tell anybody that they shouldn't be doing that. But like, yeah, that'd be like living in your work cubicle. Everyone's desk looks exactly the same, except for you're allotted 2 personal items. It's just, it's, I don't know if I can necessarily articulate why I don't like it. All I can tell you is for sure, I don't like it. How are you going to move tens of thousands of people in a city? Micro apartments, live in a pod. Fuck that. Another problem I see with the young nitwits is they expect to be able to live comfortably in a luxury apartment alone, no roommates, on an entry-level salary in a top-tier city. In a top-tier city. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. What would you do for your homeless veterans? Just brand them? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, that like I just said, we need to make sure that we are able to do that and separate that from the people who are purposely being homeless. But if you want to listen, that's not like I can just speak. I can't even open your ears for you, buddy. I can't do it for you. Got that. Burner said, and they want to do it single, not understanding that previous generations were typically already married at a young age and benefited from sharing living expenses. It's just, and this is why when somebody like Hasan is just like, well, we just need to put people in homes. It's like, dude, that's not the only issue. The issue is this and that and that and that and that, and they're all connected by this and this affected by that. And like, you can't we'll just put them in homes. Just give them more road. It's not that simple. Don't you think? Don't you think? If it was that simple, we would have fucking done it already. Obviously. So unless you're saying that the NGOs that keep homelessness around so they can make money off homelessness, unless you're saying that they're so good at preventing the solution that they purport to be their reason for existing, and I don't really think that's what you're saying. Zippy said that's what bunkhouses are for the non-families who cannot afford their own place. I don't know. Yeah, Blanco saying not our fault they couldn't manage what they were given, like people that work for checks week to week. It's not that simple. Exactly. It's not about being mean. It's not about saying like you're a bad person. But the world is what the world is. If you can't make the right choices, if you can't pay for shit, if you can't do what needs to be done, you're not going to have a good time. It's just that simple. What is ARM? Something mortgage. Has to be the worst type of mortgage out there. What is ARM? Bernard said we need to bring back mental institutions and facilities. Yeah, that I think would be probably one of the biggest things. And the strange thing is that it's not like we're at a shortage of people who would want to be in that area. I mean, psychology is one of the biggest, most common. Thank you, I'm on 69. Yeah, psychology is one of the most commonly, how do you say that? The most commonly received degree? I don't know. But everybody who doesn't know what the fuck to do, is like, okay, I guess I'll do psychology. Most of those people don't actually, like myself, don't actually want to follow through. But if there was an avenue to actually help these people, if there was an avenue to actually clean up the streets like that, you'd think that people would be down for it. If not just the people who are either have a loved one or see homeless right outside their front door. People want to solve this. But just saying, give them houses, that's not a solution. Yeah, Bruce, I'm so sick of all the Gen Z chicks making TikToks crying in their luxury SUVs about how hard it's so hard. Give me a break. Yes, thank you. Yeah, funny, right? It's almost like it's my show and I do it the way that I want to, right? Oh my God. Oh, yeah, this one. Definitely going to read out indie film. Back in the day, they were called boarding houses. You essentially rented a room, shared a bathroom, kitchen, everything else. And I mean, more recently, it was just called having roommates. But not anymore. I need my space, okay? Like, if I'm not in tune with my aura, like, my space just gets it ruins my vibe. Something like that. First, my college roommate got a master's degree in psychology and became a stay-at-home mom. Never worked in the field after graduation. And I'm sitting here talking about shit in front of a fucking computer. So, and that's what happens when you get a degree in psychology. You do anything else.
Those massive complexes that we're talking about are like luxury condominiums in comparison to what we have here as available in the private market. They have gyms, they have pools, they have some sunlight coming in. And a balcony that you can build like some kind of shrubbery on, like just some green.
Yep.
All of that stuff is still very much a possibility, even if it is decoupled from the profit motive.
Again, with decoupling from the profit motive, I get what those words mean, but are you genuinely suggesting that the solution to the housing crisis is to ruin the real estate market?
What?
What does that even mean? Or so we had Section 8, a Section 8 family next door, and they were the worst neighbors ever. I don't know. People don't want to be around that. That's the problem. Longa said, great seeing you as well, brother. Very much appreciate you. Let's dive back in here.
And we can't even think about it like that. We're like, well, why not still have it be private and just be cheaper overall and, take out some of the amenities? I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we build, livable housing that people want to live in that is still kept at a low cost.
Interesting take from Zippy. He said drug testing is not about accountability. It's about proactive feel good liability and sanity. So I think what you're trying to say is that it's to protect the shelters, not to help the people. One of those said his argument here is to completely destroy all jobs in the housing market. Well, yeah, when you take a step back and you realize that his plan is, or his argument and everything is to destroy all jobs in every market, then it doesn't really seem that crazy, right? But yeah, I do find that amusing. Yes, it's kind of funny. I spent 4 years getting a degree, and much like most other people, yeah, is that an issue? Do you have a problem with that?
Want to live in that is still kept at a low cost and more affordable. That's what I think can be done, and it is done in other places. And I think that it should be done in California. It would literally make this state like
bored, probably
the #1 country to live in.
I don't know. He's usually funny and like engaged in the conversation, or just playing just a fun little thing. But got his panties all up in a bunch today. Woo!
It would literally make this state like the #1 country to live in. Because we have a massive GDP. We're a very powerful economy. I think it's like what, 4th, 5th largest economy on the planet.
It's pretty much the 4th largest economy.
Yeah,
but where does the money go? That's what I want.
I can tell you where the money goes.
I can tell you where the money goes. I'm not going to. I could though. I really could.
The 4th largest economy.
Yeah.
But where does the money go? That's what I want.
I can tell you where the money goes.
Where does the money go?
The money goes to Gavin Newsom and other people's like cousins and uncles that are like contractors. And
you ain't wrong. All right. I mean, hey, I'll give him that. An agreement with Hasan. I'll drink to that. The banks have to keep getting their money. Oh yeah. Talking about those mortgage rates. Indeed. So because drug testing is about the feel good mentality of I'm helping, and we need to fend off the lawyers. I don't know though, because it usually the people in those situations wouldn't really. They would be less likely to see their help as lesser just because the person is on drugs. I don't, because that, you know what I mean? Like that would make them even more superior. Well, you're on drugs, and I'm here to help you. So I don't know. Just yeah, finally, something. Let's see how long that lasts.
Gavin Newsom and other people's like cousins and uncles that are like contractors and developers that take on and bid for these like viable contracts of like massive infrastructure projects that they have really no intention of
he left. Virgil left.
fully seeing through.
Yeah.
It goes to our police force. A gigantic chunk of it goes to our police force. Every time you drive over a pothole, think like, you know, cops got a fucking armored personnel carrier, so you can't have this pothole fixed.
Oh, okay. I mean, stupid point, but like at least I thought it was a lot dumber than he was saying. Shout out to Indie Film with the $5 super chat. Here, let's get this out of the way for the show for my boy. Yummy. Thank you so very much. Said they should cut away to pics of his house and cars. That would not go well for him. Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated.
It's
Oh yeah, we don't take Virgil seriously. Virgil usually doesn't take Virgil seriously, but I guess he really does work with homeless people. And then thought I was saying something bad. I was saying like, you know, homeless equals bad when we were saying that, you know, a lot of the people who are homeless choose to be homeless. He got mad about that and decided to be serious. You come in here talking about how, I sleep with Stormy Daniels and then you want to be taken seriously. Like, that's not how that works. But all right, you know, I mean, another one bites the dust.
You know, cops got a fucking armored personnel carrier, so you can't have this pothole fixed. It's unimaginable.
Even then, part of me thinks that crime is escalating to a point where we need more police officers because it's so prevalent. Like I've seen.
You bring up a good point.
Like,
first of all, crime is not escalating technically. That is, even if you look at police numbers, police data, crime is actually decreasing. But everywhere in the media, they're like, "Oh my God, crime is so bad."
Decreasing from when? Decreasing from the crazy crime spike, or from the normal times before that? This is what Actual Justice Warrior will talk about all the time, where so crime is down in New York City, like down from the murder spree. So it's like you had 2018, 2019, 2020, and then 2021. It's like, oh, well, it's down. No, it's not down. It's just not as up anymore. That's like when they say inflation's down. Inflation's down. Like, okay, but inflation is still more less value in the money. So even if it's less of it, then that doesn't change. That doesn't change the fact that people's money is useless. I'm sort of kind of with him on the corruption. Yeah, that was the one thing. That's why we dilly because there was one. Shout out to HJW. Yeah, there was one thing we agreed with. So he said, I'm here to help you. I'm helping. The only reason I'm helping you is because it makes me feel good. And I get money from the 501c3 trust fund buddies. It's a damn grift. Indeed, it is. Oh, no. Please. Don't say that I'm wrong. No. I can't deal with it. And everyone said, how much do you think he pays a month to have his eyebrows come in? Probably a lot. Probably more than any man needs to. It's nice that when you catch them or release them, they aren't counted. Yeah, rates are down. Make this is the semantic obfuscation that they will use. Everybody's just saying it. Like I don't get why everybody's saying it. Exactly.
Prevalent. Like I've seen.
You bring up a good point.
Like,
first of all, crime is not escalating technically. That is
technically. Numbers,
police data, crime is actually decreasing, but everywhere in the media, they're like, oh my God, crime is so bad. You would think the crime.
It's just way worse than it was 5 years ago, but it's better than it was 3 years ago. So damn.
Is worse in California than it is in like South Carolina. No, it's not. South Carolina has a much higher rate, for example, of murders than New York.
But isn't that?
I'm sure you just pulled that out of your ass, right? I'm sure you didn't go and study and find somewhere that's in a red state that has something that's worse than California. I'm sure, right?
They decriminalize a lot of the things in California too.
No, that's again a lot of this stuff.
Well, it's not technically a felony shoplifting, so it has gone down. Technically,
a lot of this stuff is portrayed in the media in a way to draw out hysteria towards it, and then you see homeless people like defecating on the street, and then you think, oh my God, the media is correct. Crime is fucking skyrocketing. Homicides are up. That's true.
Oh yeah. Well, let's just put homicides to the over here. Crime is down. I mean, homicides are up, and people are shitting on the streets, but crime is down. This is exactly the fucking the Biden administration's campaign. Which is like, no, things are great. You're just too dumb to understand. Things are, you have way more money than you think you have. No. Things are way safer than you think they are. Like, no. Yep. And look how they're doing.
Certainly.
I need to hear that again. I need to hear this motherfucker just throw that aside like it's nothing.
Crime is fucking skyrocketing. Homicides are up. That's true. Certainly. The main component, though, is not our police budgets, because police budgets have fucking gone up year over year over year. The Los Angeles Police Department spends $8 million a day just to operate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and who are those officers? Those are the seasoned officers that have been on the force for 20 years, right? Or no, those are the new ones that you had to hire because you fired all of them for not taking your jab.
$8 million a day. And hey, if you get your fucking car broken into, good luck. You call them up, they're like, sorry, nobody on the line.
But doesn't that promote in a way more crime? Because what I've seen, again, this is personally have seen this firsthand, but the level of crime out in the open, I've never seen that before in my life as someone who worked like Beverly Hills, West Hollywood. I've never seen before someone.
No, you're wrong, bro. You didn't see that.
But over the last 2 years, I've seen and heard more stories firsthand about people in broad daylight being robbed for their watches, walking down the street in a crowded space. Someone pulls up, smashes a car window, grabs it, and everyone's just kind of standing there looking. Police won't respond to it because it's not worth their time.
It's not. Yeah. And also, they're fucking super lazy. Let's be real.
The cops are lazy, but not the people who won't get a job and just steal shit. Got it. You see, when the media reports on something and then you see it right in front of you, it's actually the opposite of it.
What?
That's basically what we've got. So he said, "What's worse? Which is a worse hell? Paying a woman to have 30 kids for or orphanages, or for
what?
For the kids from understand? I have no idea what you are trying to say here. I didn't see it, but I am not in the least bit surprised. So now you're going to get pulled over, and he's going to say, papers? And you say, you first, motherfucker! Got him!
There's no other sector where, like, there's no other sector in which people go, oh yeah, they're just bad, but we got to give them more money. But
part of me thinks it's just because it's so prevalent because it's not enforced, because the penalties are not as strict as they should be for that level of crime.
America houses the largest number of caged people, not free people, prisoners on the
caged people. This is one of those things where it's like you have to realize that there is no person who is of sound mind, who is an adult, who understands how the world works, who listens to Hasan and would ever be able to see why we don't even like him. Yeah, right? Speaking out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, whatever fits. And again, they don't have to be connected because you're putting too much thought. It's not worth the officer's time. That's one thought. Now we throw that away, and now we move on to the next thought. Cops are lazy. Oh, I like that. This is the level of thought. This is the level of thought. Okay, we got a translation here. So 30 welfare babies or an orphanage where the child has a shot of escaping that life. 30 welfare babies. I mean, you'd have to say the child. Because with each, I mean, just statistically, you might have, I don't know. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Murr says, I refuse to enter the states of California or New York at this point. Probably avoid Illinois too. Yeah. Well, I will not be avoiding New York as I go to the dissident, what is it called? The Dissident Dialogue Convention in Brooklyn, New York, May 3rd and 4th is going to be a really good opportunity to not only see some speakers that we all love, but to network and to be able to get more people on to the platform and get more stuff. And it is very expensive. It is very expensive. If you want to have any opportunity to meet with anybody, you can't just get the general admission ticket. So the VIP is $2,500. I will be going. And it is all for the benefit of the channel. So if you would like to help with that, you know where your money is going.
The planet. We are 4% of the entire planet's population, and yet we have 25% of the entire planet's prisoner population. We have a very draconian attitude towards crime and punishment. And unfortunately, in other countries where they have a much more understanding approach that focuses on rehabilitation, they have better results of reintegration. They have lower recidivism rates. It is the
so everything else must be exactly the same, right? So there's lower recidivism, so they win. The level of thought. The level of thought. Hey, look who we got. Melted Mind Media in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. So didn't Hasan say he was going to sewer slide after his view? Oh, yeah. After his view count dropped from like 30K to 13 average. Yep. His viewership, goes downhill, and his brain went, or he said he was going to. So apparently he was just kind of so I'm listening to Destiny say that, like, yes, those messages were real, but he was saying it was tongue in cheek. He wasn't really having like a crazy moment like that. But I don't know. Like we say, these people don't have anything else in their lives. So I wouldn't be surprised. Welcome to Melted Mind Media.
Rehabilitation.
Drop y'all link.
They have better results of reintegration. They have lower recidivism rates. It is demonstrably failed. Our carceral state is an abject failure. We've even baked in the profit incentive into it in the form of private prisons, which are just abhorrent by other country standards. Norway literally has a non-extradition treaty for many crimes to the United States because they consider U.S. prisons to be a regularly violating human rights, solitary confinement, and even like regular prisons, like regular jails, like Rikers and whatnot, should be shut down, but are currently operating with like millions of people. I mean, not millions, but thousands of people that are going through that jail system without even a court date. We have basically proven time and time again that like these kinds of, we're going to fucking tackle crime head on by, beating people's heads in, not working is just a failure. In other places where they don't do that, it's not a failure. What is the main difference though? It's because crime doesn't happen because people are bad people. Certainly there are still, of course, going to be perverts, freaks.
Okay. I was gonna say, crime is not a thing that bad people do. No. Everyone is Aladdin, and they can't afford to feed their families, so they steal shoes and computers.
Whatever, antisocial personality disorder related crimes. But crime, for the most part, is a consequence of your material conditions. That's why when there's more poverty, like in a state like South Carolina, there's more crime. There's more violent crime. And the unfortunate reality is that we rarely ever try to tackle the underpinnings of why crime happens. And then we try to do this patchwork solution of like more police enforcement, which ironically then takes funds away from the ways to maybe even deal with why crime happens. And when there's less funding for after school programs, when there's less funding for education, when there's less funding for any kind of affordable solutions to the housing crisis, all of a sudden you have more people that are desperate. You have more people that are just like willing to say, fuck it, I'm crazy. I'm just going to go, bash someone's head in and steal their watch or rob them at gunpoint.
And that's not bad. What? Zippy says, so when you disarm the people, refuse to train and arm them, then make them hate self-defense and guns, would we not need more cops than ever? Bingo. Now, I am certainly not a fan of cops in general. I'm a fan of law and order. I'm a fan of just following the law generally. But cops generally can fuck off. That being said, people who are who don't respect the law and order can fuck off more. I think that's fair. I think that is fair. No. Ian says poverty in the U.S. Is no justification for violent crime. Being poor in the U.S. is like being moderately wealthy in many places on Earth. Absolutely. I mean, they say that if the poorest people in America are still in the 1% of the world. I mean, that's just something I heard. I don't know if that's true, but they say it, so it must be true. Once a fellow said, so Hasan wants to get rid of all jobs, but then where would the money come from to support all this funding that he wants to? From the government, of course. What do you mean? The government. The government has all the money. Duh. Come on, bro. Keep up. Yeah, all crime is simply because of lack of bread. Champagne socialist indeed. Hey, Melted Mind Media is just listening at work right now, but appreciate everybody in the chat. Let's get a dilly from Melted Mind, M169, anybody else who's at work, and us for being the chat and all the good stuff. Should I just start doing ASMR noises? You have headphones in? Zippy says the police system is bad on every level. We need smaller sheriff offices with locally elected sheriffs who deputize citizens. Making law enforcement a profession is a dead end for society. So, come on. I see you. He's just standing there now. No, I don't want to come up. What are you doing? So the Culture War podcast with Tim Pool from the most recent one. I don't know what day is it. Whatever the most recent one was. They had two former cops on, and they were talking about this. How we got exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying. They did bring up the point, however, that you see he does this, and now I'm going to turn and welcome him up here, and he's not going to do it. Come on. And then he's going to make me look like an asshole. Oh, my God, Morty. Every single time. But they were saying that, the desire to be elected and stay in office can have its own problems. But I do think, he always is. I love him nonetheless. But goddamn, he's a dick. I love that dick. But a popcorn count said, highly recommend folks check out Polk County, Florida, with the best sheriff in the country, Grady Judd. I've heard that name. Why do I know that name? If somebody doesn't, then y'all are crazy. And so there's also a massive irony in why Hasan keeps referencing red states in the South, but I'll let you guys try to figure that one out on your own. Hey, unwanted. Look at that. He knows what is good. All right, let's get this out of the way. And feed the beast. Thank you. Very, 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 very much, sir. I appreciate you so much. What did I say, guys? I don't remember. The last time I saw Unwanted Foe, and he didn't drop me a little something. You know what I mean? It'd be $50, $100. It ain't about that. It's just about showing some love. Thank you, brother. Very, 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 very much. And of course, that makes you. Wait, I can't count. My best friend.
That is a reality that has been consistent and has been endlessly pontificated on since ancient Greece. The relationship that crime has with poverty. And yet, for some reason, we just like to turn a blind eye to it here in the United States and refuse to implement actual solutions that would tackle it head on.
I'm going to go back on this. But yeah, I mean, hey, like father, like son, right? Like father, like son. Okay, that's probably it. I was gonna try to describe him, but I'm like, oh wait, he just looks like a cop. So you know. Hey, anybody that's going to uphold your rights, any cop that's going to uphold your rights, hey, that's better than a lot of them. All right, let's see what he was saying here.
Endlessly pontificated on gunpoint. It's going to go, bash someone's head in and steal their watch or rob them at gunpoint. That is a reality that has been consistent and has been endlessly pontificated on since ancient Greece.
Okay, but why are you saying that? What is the significance of the fact that it's been pontificated on since ancient Greece? Why are, like, what are you doing? Shout out to Joe Mama. Welcome to the party. Not yet. No plans yet. I might be doing something. When is it? I don't even know when it is. Is that the next one? It's not this week, is it? I don't know. I gotta look. But thank you for reminding me if it is this week. What Defoe says, that sheriff the one who gave great taxpayer money saving advice? Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
It has been consistent and has been endlessly pontificated on since ancient Greece. The relationship that crime has with poverty. And yet, for some reason, we just like to turn a blind eye to it here in the United States. And
turning a blind eye, how?
Refuse to implement actual solutions that would tackle it head on.
But you're against those solutions. You're for abolishing the police and raising the larceny. You're for all that stuff.
Meanwhile, there are examples, even if they are not, perfect, even if they haven't completely eviscerated crime, right?
And this hurts because that we got that one before where he caught himself. So we don't get to drink for this one. But goddamn, holy shit, is the projection out the ass? God damn it. I'm going to drink anyway.
Perfect, even if they haven't completely eviscerated crime, right? Violent crime, gun violence, and even, thefts, grand larceny are comparably much better. Like those rates are much better in other countries where they have social safety nets.
Why do you
hey, look who we got. My boy, Guam Tech with the $5 super chat. Eat it up. Yummy. What is Guam Tech saying here? You still treat Morty better than Hasan treats his co-host. Well, damn, I would hope. Shit. Nah, this motherfucker, I treat him like I treat y'all. I get loud. I get a little bit obnoxious. But at the end of the day, I would take a bullet for y'all. I love you guys. I love Morty. I love you. I love this. I love everything we're doing. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. What are we saying right before we hop back in? Burner says in Son's world that Morty would have to share all of his treats with the looser bum dogs in the neighborhood. Oh, that I will drink to. Oh, that is great. You guys are fucking hilarious. Oh my god.
Thefts, grand larceny are comparably much better. Like those rates are much better in other countries where they have social safety nets.
Why do you feel like, and perhaps this is just me making assumptions, that crime has gotten worse since COVID, even during the times that stimulus checks and unemployment benefits were going out?
Well, because the media is like so bad, and like the right wing is just like trying to make everything like racist, and like it's just like not even that bad, dude. Like I don't even know, like whatever, like dude, they don't even want to.
That's a great question. Crime has historically gotten lower year over year up until 2019.
Hey, we got Kelly Green in the building. Welcome to the party. The Kelly Green page got reported. Oh man, I want the good stuff. But very good to have you here. Welcome to the party, brother. Always good to see you.
Gotten lower year over year up until 2019. And then in 2020, it actually diminished dramatically because of the things that
I don't even remember what he's talking about.
Assumptions that crime has gotten worse since COVID, even during the times that stimulus checks and employment benefits were going out?
That's a great question. Crime has historically gotten lower year over year up until 2019.
Right. So when you say crime is down, and we say from when, and you say 2020, that's why you add the technically in there. It's technically down. Like, I don't know why all the media is, just reporting the spirit of what we're asking when we talk about crime. Technically it's down. It was more yesterday and it's less today. So it's down. That's it.
And then in 2020, it actually diminished dramatically because of the things that you're mentioning, and also on top of that, people were not able to travel as freely. So
shout out to Zippy. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. You have a good one. Feel better.
It literally just completely suppressed crime, right? A lot of economic factors were helpful in tackling that aspect. But then after the stimulus checks ran out, and after people were able to go back to their regular order of business, go and travel freely and walk around, it seemed like in comparison to 2020 and 2021, crime started skyrocketing. Well, yes, in comparison to 2020, yes, the year after and since then, crime has gone up. And now it's basically catching up to 2019 levels, and maybe depending on homicide, for example, it's even higher than 2019 levels.
So it's not down. Because before, you were all like, it's down. Technically, it's down. And the media just da-da-da-da.
But other than that, crime is still consistently lower year over year. It just depends on what snapshot you're looking at. But when you see a big boost like that in the numbers, in comparison to the year prior, and you have a media that is like very excited to ramp up the hysteria and the if it bleeds it leads style attitudes they have when they keep pushing for this narrative, and you have a police union that sees a lot of scrutiny. When you have police see a lot of scrutiny at the national level through police brutality becoming a more prominent conversation point, what are you supposed to do against that? How do you counter against that narrative? You say, well, they're trying to defund us. There has not been any significant defunding movement that has existed in any state, any municipality across the United States of America. They say the police have been defunded here in Los Angeles, for example.
Projection. Is that even projection, or is that just lying? He really just said there never has been a movement to I think my brain, maybe it's my brain. Maybe my brain short-circuited and I heard the wrong thing. There's no way.
How do you counter against that narrative? You say, well, they're trying to defund us. There has not been any significant defunding movement that has existed in any state, any municipality across the United States of America.
What about defund the police? I remember that movement. Just me? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard somebody say anything to the effect of abolish or defund the police.
They say the police have been defunded here in Los Angeles, for example. I'm a taxpayer here. I probably pay for more Kevlar vests.
Oh, no, he's not going to say, well, I still see cops, because the entire time defund the police doesn't really mean defund the police. We're just, obfuscating the semantics.
More guns than many of your viewers, and maybe even some of them combined. Let's be real.
Let's be real, bro.
And I can tell you with a certainty that police have not been defunded in Los Angeles. As a matter of fact,
called it.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Yep.
They've gotten more funds in comparison to the year prior, and the year prior to that as well. Their overtime benefits have skyrocketed as well. That's one way that police actually make a lot of their money is overtime.
And why? Why would their overtime go up? It's almost like a bunch of them got fucking fired And now they all need to work overtime. I mean, come on, bro.
I think what ended up happening in order to, like, I guess, satiate the masses that were asking for some level of accountability from the police, our neoliberal administrators decided, what do? Instead of giving them $200 million extra this year, we'll give them $150 million extra this year. We'll just shave a little bit off the top of what extra money that we were going to give to the police as a rate increase. And then how did they make up for that? Of course, they made up for that with COVID funds, which Joe Biden has openly stated can be used to pay overtime and the police force to continue funding the police.
Don't they need more money because of rising costs in general, whether that be for their families, the cost of cars, gasoline, Kevlar, the cost of everything has gone up. So if they cut extra funds, that is also in addition to their own costs probably going up by 20%.
Well, but they haven't really cut funds like that. You know what I mean?
But they have, though. So I guess that leaves us at an impasse. That's what I was saying before. I mean, honestly, what's the point of either of them? I was just thinking, like, how are you? We're through this whole thing, and there was one time where Graham pushed back on anything. I mean, certainly we're not very likely to come back to the iced coffee hour for future shows, but god damn. Burner Popcorn account said I would die laughing to see what the Democrats do if illegals end up trending politically conservative and voting Republican. I mean, not in 2024, but by 28, it is almost more likely than not. It is almost more likely than not that the kind of person that's going to come here is going to be certainly not going to be as woke as somebody who is, just here in 25. Just saying. Anyway, so the problem is you have a public union negotiating with the same government that pays them, and the person making decisions is somebody whose campaign they fund. If it ain't dirty, it ain't politics. Yeah, Bernard said lots of Hispanics are trending conservative, and the Dems are losing minority men in particular. Yep, it's not trending. It's not trending in the way they want. It's definitely going to be fun to see how it all shakes out.
Be going up by 20%.
Well, but they haven't really cut funds like that. You know what I mean? They keep funding the police very thoroughly and very handsomely at the opportunity cost of not funding other places that desperately need it,
such as
significantly more than the police as a matter.
Again, he's just not going to give an example or anything concrete. Got it.
Matter of fact, like education, like the roads and the like.
Oh,
every single thing that you see. That's why I always say every single thing that you see in California, we're like, how the fuck is this still, like, how's this pothole still here? You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, fix the fucking potholes. It's like, can't, because a lot of our funds are currently being used elsewhere.
Or does it have to do with the fact that when we have these bills, and maybe not a particular, a pothole is going to be more local, but the idea that bills can be these omnibus bills, and it's not just voting on should we fix the potholes in the city or should we fix this particular pothole. It's should we fix the potholes and legalize fucking heroin or some shit. Obviously, being facetious there, but also a big factor.
It's like a business. Everything is a business, right?
Yep.
What do you do when you have a unlimited money supply? Okay, year over year.
Just like a business. It's just like a business when you have an unlimited money supply.
You're going to find a way to spend it so you can keep asking for it and even ask for more. Everyone massages the numbers in that regard. If you've ever worked for a corporation, they do it all the time.
Yeah, but Trump's the only one they're putting in prison for it.
They want to make sure that, their budgets look good. They're going to always find a way to spend it.
Yep.
There's never a moment where police go, maybe we should do a little bit of belt tightening. There's never austerity towards police. Yeah. There's only austerity towards education year over year.
I feel like that's not a problem with the police. That's just a problem with the whole California system, where if any company, government funded, says, I don't spend this amount of money that I'm given, I'm not going to get more the next year. And I'm going to seem like a failure. If I get $20 million budget, I need to spend the whole thing to be able to get that again. And if I spend 15, well, now I'm going to be limited to 15 the next year.
Audited.
Yeah, so maybe, again, you need to step back and not see, well, as long as we're working in this framework, it has to be this way. Let's not work in this framework then. maybe the notion of how we determine what a budget is shouldn't be how much did we give you last year. I'm not saying I have the right answer, but you didn't even stop to think that maybe we could change something. Also, because damn wokey streamers, dude. They say the most heinous bullshit on their streams and go on other shows with fake-ass personas. Hasan and Vosh only care about bringing people to their channel. They're only civil when it's a chance to grow their own pockets. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to show you guys something now that we're getting near the end of this.
Have some fucking number crunchers in there. Go, no, not anymore. We're not doing this. I think we should do that.
On what grounds? And who's saying what based on saying what? No. As you again can run the tape back. When you initially said it, I brought your comment up and said that I disagreed with you. It's when you like me. Oh, just please talk to me. Oh, alone in Manchester, England with Stormy Daniels. Bro, you can't fucking spend months being a troll and then all of a sudden switch up and expect me to know. I don't even know, like, do you think I can see your picture? You're just a name. I don't know you. Stop taking everything so goddamn personally. I don't even fucking live in your continent. I don't know who you are. Anyway, what was I saying?
Have some fucking number crunchers in there. Go.
Oh yeah, this idea. I mean, he used to be, but I don't know. He got his panties all up in a bunch. Yeah, this idea that I think I said this already. That work in a framework. Well, in this framework, it has to be this way. So why don't we change the way that we determine who gets how you get budgets?
Well, now I'm going to be limited to 15 the next year.
Audit it.
I mean, I'm with you.
Have some fucking number crunchers in there. Go, no, not anymore. We're not doing this. I think we should do that. I think
problem solved, guys. Problem solved. Just get some money crunchers and be like, nah, dude, nah, bruh. Problem solved.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm in favor of implementing efficiency protocols and eliminating redundancy.
Me too.
As vicious as like a Bain Capital guy or a McKinsey consultant when it comes to something that is as expansive and not yielding the results that it's supposed to, like the police force.
Yeah,
the general
criminalize it.
So that's where where he was a year ago. But let's take a peek at something that I saw today. This was posted 2 days ago, but I saw it today. It was streamed 2 or 3 days ago.
Me and Hasan are on good terms too, so we'll see how long that goes. If he sees me keep talking to you, I guess.
I'll private the VOD here so he doesn't catch you. Don't worry. Okay.
No, don't worry, dude. I'm waiting to see that bridge be burned. But yeah. Good talking to you, man. Take care.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
He's so mad right now.
Trash. There's 100K new,
oh my God.
new streamers.
Let's so because I want you guys to fully see what we got here. So next, this is a government problem in general. Government is supposed to be trying to work themselves out of a job, but instead they do everything to ensure they get rich and never have to leave office. Come on. Yeah, come, Bubba. It's okay. Look. I want to post it. Hasan is 32, but acts like he's a junior in college. Yep. Oh, well, it was a different conversation, so I'm supposed to know what's in Virgil's mind before he types it. Got it. Okay. Sorry. I didn't know, Virgil. My bad. That I'm supposed to be in your head. Yeah. Don't take like life advice from I mean, really any political stream, especially as we've seen like with the Candace and Ben thing. We saw a crowded thing. Either side. Politics is not really where, and I wouldn't suggest that you live your life like I live my life. I think that I do have the proper values for what is ideal for society. But outside of that, I'm not. Don't be like, oh, you. He's telling people you should. No. I'm not doing any of that. I'm actually wondering how long it'll be until Hasan will go back on his word and debate Destiny to up his channel subs. Yep. Check it out.
Jinxie Queso, but this place orbits OTK Hasan Destiny. Post other shit, move on from us. Oh wait, y'all refuse to do that. Lol. Like, NMP's right. Hasan.
Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever seen Virgil mention Stormy Daniels.
Unsponsored comment.
He's so mad.
It's not a collab. It's not a collab. It's him laughing. It's Destiny laughing at him. It's great. It's great. It's
so yeah, good decision overall. I think it's fucking ridiculous. They basically, the interesting thing with Destiny is that he doesn't keep the same energy for the same person. He never install Hasan like he's done online in person. Mods are just getting rid of the internet tough talk, keeping it real. Wait, what? The fuck?
So you're wrong, Virgil.
It's such a dumb comment. It's such a silly comment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my point. You know that you feel differently about this conversation than every other conversation. How am I to know? I am just a man. I'm just a person. Jesus fucking Christ.
Anyway, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, he really does speak that fucking slow. But like, think about how confident he was in the iced coffee hour.
What is this?
And now he's
ignore them, dude. This is fruitless. I mean, I'm just celebrating.
Oh, you're celebrating. So
I'm just celebrating that. You know,
this is what August suggested, guys. Is this better? Did I just cut the resolution?
What?
To my stream and just put the actual stream window down there.
The brigade, actively brigaded and used to just like shit on me under the guise of accountability, has decided that like this kind of behavior is unproductive.
He's crying because he realized that a bunch of once Destiny pulls the stream up, then all the people who are watching Destiny stream will then go into Hasan's chat.
This versus the ghost.
That this kind of behavior is not great. Corner. That you know, that it would be better off if there weren't like these cross-pollinated streams of like Destiny talking about Hasan talking about Destiny. Hasan talking about Destiny clips are never really on there anyway. And I'm sure they'll try to, you know, there's not to like farm sympathy or anything like that. I should get banned off LSF. I hope I get banned off LSF.
LSF is live stream fails, and it's basically like a subreddit where, you know, people will just clip out like your worst moments.
Please ban me, okay? It's fucking unbearable. It is unstoppable every single instance. And when I get banned, any criticism of me,
why not just like,
bro, what criticism? I'm already fucking pointing out how inconsistent and
increase his volume. This is on, he's listening to himself, but it's quiet.
Criticism. That's it. It has never stopped. It has never stopped. It has literally always been, I hate Hasan because Hasan is inconsistent. I hate Hasan because Hasan is hypocritical. It's always like, it always is like moralizing. It always is about like moralizing your hatred and utilizing the talking points that you like. Look, I'm sure two-time divorced dad is probably currently watching because immediately you see the vibe shift, right? Like immediately.
Context said, please give us a lap and show the Hasan the Hasan package. All right, I got you.
Like I can tell when I'm being raided. You know what I mean? I can tell when I'm being like brigaded. Twitch streamers understand that. Twitch streamers can literally see it. And it's so funny when like this is just an ongoing constant thing. The only like, I mean, it's been ongoing and constant since like 2019. It's never really stopped. The only difference is that I basically full-blown stopped talking about Destiny, and that was the most productive thing I'd ever done. And since then, only until Israel did I not do any of that. And his fan base is still trying to like cope and find reasons for why I'm doing it or whatever. He's like, oh, he's falling off, blah, blah, blah. Right? But this is the reason why I don't talk about him. This is the reason why I don't debate him, because his fan base goes fucking crazy. Like you guys make it so that it's impossible to have a normal conversation because you're not really interested or invested in anything. You're not really interested in investing in anything other than making him look good. And in that effort, you literally...
Just to be clear, don't regret what you've done. Don't regret what you've done. Okay. I can't regret what I've done, okay? To be clear, the only reason Hasan exists on Twitch is because I cleared the way for him. Because if you had any idea how unbelievably hostile Twitch audiences were to left-leaning politics when I started doing them, Hasan would have killed himself 10 times over. Hasan would have hung an Acme anvil above his bed, and then he would have half OD'd on fucking benzos just so that he could come out of his drug-induced half-suicide coma to watch himself die again. That's how much he would have hated his life if he would have tried to do politics back in 2016 when I started. At the height of Gamergate, back when you could call other people fat on Twitch, every single streamer audience, every single area that I walked into, oh, that libcook, that fucking liberal, oh, that libfuck loser, oh, this woke skull loser, fucking SJW, blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ. He's so soft.
Jesus Christ. Indeed. So Gontek says, could you imagine having that screen in front of you multiple hours a day all week? No wonder these woke streamers are all fucking crazy and anti-social. Yeah, I mean, there we go. There's Morty boy. I mean, it does seem like, there is a, well, number one, I don't think you see streaming like this on the right as much. I mean, I'm sure it exists, but I'm not I'm not aware of anybody who does, who streams all day. Damn, was that rain? Damn, it is pouring out there. So I don't think it necessarily has to do even with politics. I just think, yeah, if you're spending 8 hours a day, we were making fun of Hasan for saying that, it is soul sucking, but only because he's comparing it to a real job. I definitely think that, it would take a lot out of you. And yeah, I mean, just being like, this is a scary fucking thing. Like, it's scary. And especially like, there's only 10 of you, 10, 11 of you here right now. But like, if I had 20,000 people for 8 hours straight, yeah, that would be a little taxing. And keep on mischaracterizing what I say. Hope it makes you feel better. Dylan said bars. It says streaming like Hasan's on the right gets heavily censored. It used to exist like 10 years ago, but today it's hard to find due to all the censorship. Makes sense. I mean, I mean, that's why I know that there is, I've been playing around with the different categories on Kick and on Rumble to try to see like what is going to catch some people. Because I mean, we used to have at least 1 or 2 people come in, whether it was Rumble or Kick. And so I've been playing around with some, and like the biggest one was news. But then I put it under Republican politics, and I don't think that's a good one. But it's just figuring what it is. But the people are there to watch. But yeah, in terms of right wing streamers, you've got like your Nick Fuentes types, but I don't know. Burn Popcorn said he also has a younger audience of mostly brokey guys who don't have much going on in their lives and hate rich people. Yep, indeed. All right, so by special request by our boy Guam Tech reminding me that this existed, our super mega Chad right here.
Listen, bro, rain or shine, we're out here. Oh my God, what happened? You died. That's what
died, bro. That's what happened.
Watch out, dude.
One more time.
Rain or shine.
Is this gonna get me claimed?
Oh my God, what
It's gonna
happened?
get me claimed.
You died. That's what happened. Watch out, dude.
Oh my God. Yes, indeed. Sam Hyde. Sounds familiar. I can't remember who it is. Might be a good joke, but I forget. Indeed. Sad and crazy. So, I mean, the Burn Popcorn account says, I'm a chick, and I would rate Hasan a 2 out of 10 on looks alone, but 0 out of 10 total package. Oh, my God. Savagery. Just straight savagery. Oh, my God. Yeah, right? Like, there's just something I was honestly thinking about, not doing the show tonight, but I'm just not, feeling as up to it as I usually am. But, I know that, I think that it's it's not just for me. I feel as much benefit as I get from coming and talking to you guys and he's just like, here, just kick my hand real quick. You'll be good. And look how he's standing too. He's like, all right, you ready? Hold on. How do I mute this shit? But yeah, I mean, what's better? That? No, that. Or that. No, that. Rogan would definitely help. Definitely. Burner said, I give Destiny a 1 because he's slightly less annoying Hasan, but only if he ditches the blue hair and puts on a clean shirt. I think that is absolutely fair. -2 points for no package. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's important that we, took the time to see what it is that this guy's all about. I think unintentionally, the ice cream, or what is it, fucking iced coffee hour was well, thank you. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I think the iced coffee, what the fuck is it called? That podcast. I think it was actually unintentionally a good platform for us to use, because we didn't get a lot of the pushback, and we were able to see what is he going to do when he's just let out to do his own thing. And I think that we got a new dance. We call it the stanky leg. Stanky leg. Oh, stanky leg. Yeah, we good. But yeah, I do think it's important because there are so many people who follow this kid. There's so many people who follow this kid, and they take him very seriously. And so, I'm not in a position where I can just, counter his influence. They don't care. They have no reason to look good, because they're like, everything about their lives is just the superficial feeling goodness. That's why. And it's frustrating. I mean, we want to show, I mean, there's a lot that goes there, that too. Definitely a lack of masculinity, because part of that masculinity is yep, spot on, guys, spot on. Part of that masculinity is understanding the importance of how you carry yourself. Not that you have to show off for other people, not that you have to put on airs, but just how do you want to be perceived? And yeah, masculinity is definitely a big part of that, but it's also, maybe kind of the same thing. But the fact that feeling good is the only thing that matters to these people. Well, is it comfy? Okay, great. And that's the end of it. There's no thought to, well, is there a reason why people care what people look like? Just, does it feel good? Well, that's it. It's also the name of a boy band name. Low T. There we go. Progressivism is feminine by nature. I agree. And not necessarily liberalism, but progressivism for sure. Let's shout out our. I was gonna. All right. Let's shout out the super chats, and then thank you, Nick. I got to do that if anybody wants to hang out and help me with that. So we had Zippy the Stranger, Zippy DSM Lee, hit me up on with the Rumble chat and becoming a subscriber. Thank you so very much. And we had our boy Garrett Grant with the gifted membership. Thank you, sir. Unwanted Foe doing the damn thing like he always does. Indie Film with the $5. Indie Film's always dropping a little something. Thank you. And Unwanted Foe hit it again. He hit it again. Like, let me do it one more time. Get it that nice and good, like. And then our boy, Guam Tech. Guys, you are amazing. You are so very, 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 very amazing. I love all of the time that we spend together. I love everything that you guys bring to this. I mean, if this were a year ago, and I didn't know if anybody was going to show up, I absolutely would have not streamed tonight. But knowing that you guys were going to be here, not only makes me feel like, well, I have to show up for them, but I get to hang out with them. So I mean, I know you guys don't like when I get all mushy and stuff, but I really, really, really do appreciate you. And we're growing, and things are happening. And when they sell you a course on how to be a YouTuber, they always make it seem a lot easier than it's going to be. They always say, oh, you're going to be making this much money and this amount of time. It don't happen like that. But we're here every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, doing the damn thing. And I promise you, unless some shit goes down, I will be here. I will be here. So I implore you to be as well. And one day, guys, we're going to make real changes. So thank you so very much for hanging out. Big shout out to all the donations, and big shout out to the members. Replay gang, if you made it this far, comment implosion below. Thank you again. Once again, this has been Morty, and I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.